3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
There were parents there of 8 and 9-year-olds who their kids are hearing some terms for sexual acts and then came back to the parents and said, "What is this?"
Ooh, that's a tough one. My daughter's memorized about 15 Nicki Minaj songs.
Oh, boy.
So she knows a little more than I am. Sometimes I go to her with questions.
What is WAP?
You know, it's an interesting moment, and it's related. When your kid drops a curse word on you, my daughter, like 9, didn't like this teacher. My daughter's this cute little thing. She goes, "Bleeping Miss What's her name?" I was like, whoa.
Working blue. Wow.
They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
Welcome to the show. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff, Shohei Ohtani Perloff. This is an all-time bummer. I will not get into right now that the Angels made a terrible mistake in not trading him. I said it at the time, said their process was flawed to try to go for it with Ohtani. They're 10 games out in the wild card, so the playoffs are not going to happen. And now Ohtani has a tear in his elbow, and his future is maybe not in jeopardy, but it looks a bit different today than it did 2 days ago.
Not to me.
Why not?
Because I knew all along, I'm a realist, that he was not going to be able to keep doing this. There's no way he could keep on hitting and pitching. Every 2 weeks, there was either a blister or his back hurt or something. He clearly physically could not do this. And guess what? He's the best hitter in baseball by a huge stretch right now. I think this is actually exciting, and I don't think this is going to kill him going into free agency. Because imagine if he could take all that energy that he dedicated to pitching. Now he's going to put it into hitting, and he's already the best hitter.
Okay, but you're the best hitter or one of the best hitters in baseball. That's great, but that's not the uniqueness. That's not the amazing feat. The not even once in a generation, once in a lifetime, literally player.
Right. Like twice
once in our lifetime.
Twice in 120 years, Babe Ruth and Shohei Ohtani.
Amazing. And without that, yeah, he's still a great hitter, but the Ohtani story doesn't continue in a way that was must watch all the time. Great hitters are awesome, but we have a lot of them right now in baseball. Aaron Judge is a great hitter. Pete Alonso, your boy Bryce Harper, Mike Trout. I mean, Julio Rodriguez. We had a lot of great hitters out there. Ohtani was a class all of his own, right. And if he's not going to pitch anymore, or if his future pitching is in jeopardy, if he needs another Tommy John surgery, it takes an all-time great story and just makes it a good story. I don't feel like I need to watch every Shohei Ohtani at bat if he's just going to be a DH.
Yeah, but I feel like the players you just named are all great players. But Shohei feels a little different to me. First of all, he's fast. He's gigantic. I mean, I know Judge is gigantic too, but he's a lefty. And I just think there's a lot going on with Shohei that makes you think, wow, if he did all that while pitching, can you imagine if he only hit and really focused on that? He might be Babe Ruthian. I mean, he might be the best. He's got the best OPS in baseball by almost 100 points right now. He's so far away. He's also incredibly fast.
Okay,
he's just
but
a freak. And
do we even know what position he would be playing?
He's such a great athlete. And the fact that, so I feel like, man, he is the best athlete in baseball. That's going to translate as a hitter. He's just unique. He's a little more than all those guys you named.
But it already has translated as a hitter. We already know he's great. If he just DHs, is he even going to play first base? Does Ohtani, I don't even know what position he would play. Can he play outfield?
Just DH him. Who cares?
Okay, so that athleticism goes away.
No, but it makes him. He uses that athleticism to be the best hitter in baseball. If I don't know, I feel like
I think you like him because he can pitch too, and if he doesn't do that, he just becomes a one-dimensional baseball, a great baseball player, but one-dimensional.
But pitching wasn't going to happen. I mean, it's not going to happen. It's ridiculous to think that you can go out there every 5 days and be a starting pitcher and then hit every day.
Well, not just a starting pitcher, a top line, front line starter.
To me, it doesn't even matter. There's nobody's arm who can do that, and obviously Shohei's arm could not do that. It was a matter of time before this happened, and we all know it.
What I think is interesting about this is, let's say he does get the second Tommy John, right? And it's a very short list of guys who've been able to come back and pitch at a really high level after the second Tommy John. But you know what? Technology, medical science keeps improving, whatever. Maybe he'll be that guy. But he would be the ultimate weapon then if you could just, in a playoff series, if he hasn't even been pitching, or pitching very sparingly, could he actually come in as some kind of ringer? I have no idea. Does it mean pitching is totally end? Yeah. All of a sudden it's now warming up in the bullpen. It's whoa, Shohei. So maybe there's still a hope for him. But as far as the amazing history making feats that we seem to be seeing almost nightly, that goes away.
I don't know. I still think he's the number one draw in baseball as a hitter because I feel
Aaron Judge is up there.
I don't know. I don't see the excitement around Judge. Ohtani seems more new to me, and he's younger than Judge. When he's going to hit free agency at 29, Judge was 31. Judge felt like, even as a hitter, Judge felt like he was breaking down a little bit. I feel like Ohtani, there's just something special there. I mean, first of all, the speed is crazy. He should not be that fast either for a guy who's gigantic. I feel like if he just focuses on hitting, it's going to be incredible. I mean, this year is 44 home runs, 304 average, 664 slugging is huge, over 400 on base percentage, good eye. I mean, he is everything.
So the other big question is obviously the elephant in the room, which is Shohei Ohtani's free agency, which is, again, why I said it was totally flawed that the Angels did not trade him. At the trade deadline, they tried to go for it with him, I guess admirable, but that turned out to backfire because they're not going to make the playoffs. And on top of it, you could have traded him, and if you really were confident you could make a great offer, just sign him back. If he had gone to free agency, you could have had your cake and eat it too. Whatever. The whole system and situation, rather, was flawed when it came to Ohtani. So now the question becomes, let's just say for argument's sake, he really can't be the pitcher that he once was.
Right.
Does that mean more teams will be in the mix or fewer teams will be in the mix for his services? Because he's going to now hit the market as just a great pitcher, or excuse me, a great hitter. So somewhere between $400 million and $500 million. If he was going to be a frontline starter and an all-time great hitter, you're looking at $700 million, $800 million. Who knows what the contract would have been unbelievable. So in some ways, could more teams now be in the hunt?
What's the highest there is right now? 426 for Trout? Something like that? I think Ohtani will be the first $500 million guy.
Even now.
I mean, I think he's obviously like he's chasing Aaron Judge's home run record. He's younger. I feel like people are going to see untapped potential. Shohei's never been a full-time hitter. Can you imagine what he's going to do with that? I think he's going to be the most valuable player.
But at least Mike Trout plays center field.
Yeah,
also plays a premium position on defense. I love it. Meh. Who cares?
I don't care. I honestly
and Aaron Judge plays right field and has a cannon for an arm and is incredible in the outfield.
It's really helping the Yanks.
That's the thing. I mean, Mike Trout doesn't help the Angels. He got put on the IR yesterday too, by the way. I
think the value is. I think if he's going to be the best hitter in baseball, I think that has much more value. And I do think that honestly, Ohtani is definitely the upside feels much higher than Trout. I mean, Trout's not going to hit 65 home runs. I feel like this is so stupid, but I think Shohei Ohtani could be baseball's new Babe Ruth. I think he could stop pitching. He was
already Babe Ruth.
No, I know. Babe Ruth stopped pitching and became the greatest hitter in the league. I think Shohei has a chance to become the number one hitter for an 8-year span, which is incredible. He's like he could be Albert Pujols in his prime. I mean, he's by far the most valuable player in my mind to come on to free agency. You've seen guys get over $300 million to Tatises of the world who are nowhere, to me, don't have anywhere near this potential, just as a hitter.
Yeah, Tatis was younger and then got busted for steroids, obviously. But, Ohtani is 29. I think this does take a bit of a luster off the Ohtani story, and I'm curious if people agree with me.
Do you think he's worth becoming the highest paid player in baseball?
No, not if it's just a DH. I don't think so. I mean,
what if you stuck him at first base?
Well, yeah, I guess. I mean, to do something for you on defensively, and then let's see, to have that expensive of a DH. That's like the Giancarlo Stanton story, And Stanton actually did want to play in the outfield when he was with the Miami Marlins. Did because it was the National League, obviously, and they didn't have a DH back then, but. No, I need a little bit more, I think, to be the highest paid player, but that's just me.
He is going to be 2-time MVP coming into free agency. When does that ever happen?
I'd have to think about it.
I just think he's a
Alex Rodriguez, I guess?
Probably, okay. And who became by far the highest paid player of all time. I think he's going to definitely set the record. Because I assume he's winning MVP this year. I don't have it in front of me.
He probably should. But what he's doing this year is unbelievable. But I'm curious about what people think about Ohtani's story. Are you going to be following him as closely as you would if he's not pitching too?
Does it matter? Are you going to put a caveat? It depends where he plays, or?
Well, I mean, yeah, if he's obviously on your favorite team,
well, no,
you're going to watch him.
If he re-signs with the Angels, you're probably not going to watch him. But if he signs with another
no one's been watching him this whole time. No, we have.
If he signs with the Dodgers or sort of a high-profile team, then I think...
Is he still must-see TV, even if he's not pitching? Yeah, Samter shakes his head. I'm with you.
No, if he's not doing both, he's Aaron Judge, he's... Fernando Tatis, he's a great hitter.
You're saying Aaron Judge wasn't must-see TV?
Well, they were breaking...
When he was chasing a record, yes, but not on an everyday basis. He's not must-see TV. He's interesting. Juan Soto, they're great players, and I like to watch them when they're on. Ohtani is must-see, especially when he's pitching, because when he's hitting and pitching at the same time,
it's amazing.
It's like The Scout, Brandon Fraser.
One of Samter's all-time favorite movies.
But he's having one of those sort of Barry Bonds years where if you throw anything near the plate at him, I mean, it is fascinating to watch him cover the plate.
Nobody's ever had Barry Bonds type year.
No, I know, but it's like you cannot pitch to Shohei right now. And he's huge. It's a little like Judge last year, but he's a lefty, which makes him much more entertaining.
If Shohei goes to hitting only and starts chasing home run records and hitting 65, 70 home runs and doing things...
Which will definitely happen.
So, I mean, it seems like it's feasible based off of how good he is while he's pitching. So if he could start doing that and start breaking records and start doing things that no one's ever seen at the plate, then maybe he becomes must-see TV again. If he's just a really good hitter, then he's not worth $600 million, that's for sure.
But, I mean, he's going to be a 2-time MVP.
So was Mike Trout. He wasn't must-see TV.
Yeah.
And again, he was also playing a premium position on defense. I know no one on this show seems to care about that.
But style-wise, you have to admit, though, there's a little more
in baseball.
It's a little more flair to Ohtani as a hitter than there is to Mike Trout.
Well, yeah, but is there more flair to Ohtani as a hitter than Bryce Harper?
Well, no, Bryce Harper is must-see TV.
Well, that's because you're watching most Phillies games.
But Bryce Harper is
Pete Alonso is also must-see TV. No, but I'm just saying he has flair as well, if you want to say that.
First of all, I mean...
You just don't want to give a compliment to a Mets player. I get that.
When Bryce Harper hits a home run, the exit velocity is insane because he swings like he's trying to hit the ball 5,000 feet. And when he connects on those rare occasions, it's really entertaining. It's kind of like Griffey and A-Rod had the same numbers, but Griffey was must-see TV and A-Rod was not. A-Rod was like Trout. Nobody cared if A-Rod hit a home run when they were winning 8-3.
Stu and Mike did.
But
he was really good at doing that.
You have to admit, a Griffey home run was the most beautiful thing you've ever seen. There's something
perfect swing.
Yeah, and Ohtani's, it's very entertaining to watch him hit home runs. That's my opinion.
Do we put the poll question out there? Is Ohtani still must watch, or will he lose some of his luster, if you will? We can word that better.
No, I think he'll definitely lose some of the luster. It's matter whether or not he's still must watch.
He still must watch, even if he's not pitching and hitting. If he's hitting, he's just another great hitter, which is awesome, and that'll get you paid a lot. But it's not the uniqueness.
Yeah, but he's definitely this year. He's the best hitter in baseball. I don't think anyone's even close. This year.
I mean, Judge missed almost 60 games.
Yeah, but I mean, Judge was never going to do 65 again.
He's actually on pace for that again. Can you believe it? If he had not missed all that time, he would have been on pace for 61.
Yeah, but it's
which is wild.
I mean, Shohei's so far ahead of everybody else. I think I looked at the OPS. Mookie Betts is second, and he's almost 100 points behind him. And the speed of Ohtani, you guys are forgetting, this guy is unbelievably fast. If he wants to start stealing bases, too, I think he's a very unique. Also, the guy's finally going to be able to hit. And he's not going to have to worry about all that pitching stuff.
Honestly, I liked it. Well, I liked watching him pitch. I thought that was the more interesting part of him.
Right, but imagine as a hitter if he can use some of that energy and become a 20% better hitter.
I don't know. It didn't seem like he was lacking energy on either side. So I guess maybe he'll be a better hitter. I don't know if that's necessarily for sure. And he seemed to be handling both workloads really well until it caught up with him. Listen, you're right. It was going to catch up with him at some point. Right. It's just a shame that we didn't get a couple more years of him doing this at the top level.
Say you signed him next year and you own the team. Say it was, I'll say, Red Sox.
Yeah.
Would you try and do both?
Well, next year, if he has Tommy John, throw next year off. So 2025.
Yeah. Would you try and say 2025? Right.
Yeah, definitely. If I'm signing him to that deal, I'm still holding out hope that he's going to pitch.
Don't you want him to play every day, though, if you're paying him $500 million? Like, listen, people are buying tickets. He tore his part of the UCL in the first game of the doubleheader yesterday and then went and DH'd in the second game of the doubleheader. So I think he's amazing. It is incredible. But also, don't you think people are going to pay to see he can probably win 4 or 5 MVPs in the next 5 or 6 years. That's incredible. I think he's by far the best player right now. I think the voters he deserves MVP. I'm not taking anything out about that away from him. This year, no one's competing. Yeah, right. But if we understand how voters work in all sports. There's voter fatigue. There was something, because Ohtani's story is so incredible, he's obvious MVP. No. If he's only hitting, this year's he's gonna compete with all the other guys for MVP. If they have good numbers. This year, he would have blown away the field just hitting. No one's even close this year. So this year is off the table. But I don't think moving forward, he just becomes he's another great hitter. Right. But if he's going to hit 50, 60 home runs, he's going to be way ahead of the field. They don't get bored of voting guys like Mike Trout MVP. They kept giving it to Trout, and nobody even cared. So I think he has a chance, if he could stay healthy as a hitter, to win 5 MVPs like Trout. Or however, how many does Trout have? 3. 855-212-4CBS. Yes. Yeah, I'll bet you Ohtani passes that. I might. 855-212-4227 if he could start pitching again. I don't think so. I think he's going to do it as a hitter. So he would have 2. So he'll have 2 if he wins it this year. Yeah. Will he finish his career with more MVPs than Mike Trout? I think so. I think he's going to be he's going to be Aaron Judge, and I think he's going to hit 60 home runs, but he's Judge only has 1. He's a better average hitter, and he's faster. If he can really stay, he's 29. I think he's going to go on a big run. I might be inclined to take that bet. He's going to have 2. That's 2 in the book is going to be pretty good at 29. I know, but who will finish with more MVPs?
I don't know if he's going to pass Mike Trout. Anyway, 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. You are welcome to weigh in on Shohei Ohtani. We say a good afternoon to the Weedos, the Purple Drinkers in the chat. Everyone's in full effect today. Glad to hear it. We want to say hello to our CBS Sports Radio affiliates. Boy, do we love you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Sirius XM channel 158, the absolutely free to download Odyssey app. Got a fun show today. Want you to be a part of it. Coming up.
But I want to amend the bet a little bit.
Oh, you didn't shake on it.
My problem with the bet is I just realized that Mike Trout's only 32, so he could make it 4, which will make it harder for Ohtani. So if we freeze Trout at 3 MVPs, then I'm taking the bet.
No deal. The question, too, will Ohtani have lost the luster? Will he still be must-see TV if he's not pitching as well as hitting? 855-212-4CBS. It is Maggie and Perloff. Coming up, we also have more clarity on the future of one former top draft pick in the NFL. So we've got that for you. Glad you're on board. Again, 855-212-4CBS. Maggie and Perloff back in a minute. Okay, this show is sponsored in part by BetterHelp. And boy, is this important, because sometimes in life we're faced with very tough choices, and the path forward, it's not always clear. So whether you're dealing with decisions around your career, your relationships, or really anything else, therapy helps you stay connected to what you really want while you navigate life so you can move forward with confidence and excitement. Trusting yourself to make decisions that align with your values is just like anything. The more you practice it, the easier it gets. And therapy can give you the tools to find more balance in your life so you can keep supporting others without leaving yourself behind.
You know, we've all been through some unpredictable times over the past few years, and it's not a sign of weakness to ask for help. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. Let therapy be your map with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/MNP today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp.com/MANP. BetterHelp.com/MNP.
You're in a 4-minute break. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Driving under the influence of marijuana is illegal, and law enforcement officers can tell you if you're driving high. If you feel different, you drive different. Drive high and get a DUI, paid for by NHTSA. A little bit of that kind of action last night watching, not me personally, watching the Florida documentary. There were a couple players who got arrested for driving with marijuana in their car. There were, it's funny because all the criticism.
They're like half the team.
Yeah. Everyone is criticizing this documentary for ignoring a lot of the bad sides of Florida.
Yeah, this is Urban Meyers and Tim Tebow, the two national championship teams.
Still, there might have been footage about 36 different arrests in the documentary.
Oh, is there? So is that not fair? The criticism that they kind of glossed over Aaron Hernandez, the Pouncey twins, Percy Harvin.
I don't know if it's fair or not, but I got to tell you, you could not miss the arrest. There was so much deeper. I did not realize how many players had been arrested. Because I had never heard. I've heard of those guys.
Yeah.
There were all sorts of other players who were getting arrested all the time.
It just didn't make it out of Gainesville.
Well, they said that the college controlled the police. So they're describing how the lawyer. He's like, one player's like, oh yeah, the lawyer would find something wrong with the language of the police report every single time, and they would get off. Yeah, I mean, listen, it's the way college football should be. It was old school. I loved it.
I mean, I'm sure it's still that way. It's just because our attitudes towards, certain things have changed, I guess, in the last couple
marijuana is a big deal. There were a lot of marijuana arrests in the doc. So I think the fact that marijuana is legal now does change the game a little bit.
So I watched the first half of the first episode. There's 4 episodes. Yeah. And I just thought it was hilarious to me that they're talking about Florida. They had kind of fallen off and they really needed someone to get in there to hold these guys accountable. Yeah. So here comes Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer didn't hold anybody accountable off the field. Now on the field, they are insane. The footage they show of what was going on in Florida is crazy how competitive it was within the own team. But when I think of holding players accountable, I really don't think of Urban Meyer.
That's funny because I think if you have a talented team but you can't get the players to commit, the first person I think it would be Urban Meyer and Belichick and Saban.
Right.
The three of them, you do not mess around on those guys.
Well, I'm talking about the footage that you see, at least I did. So they would start the season. I don't know if this is common in other college football programs, but they would start the season before spring practice, whatever it was, where 2 guys have to wrestle each other to basically not to the death, but until one person taps out. Yeah. And that's it. It's not even Oklahoma drill. Nobody's wearing pads. It's in a gym, 2 guys, and one guy's choking the other guy till he passes out on the mat. It's just they're like, hey, are you all right?
Some of their exercise stuff was crazy. They did this thing. You ever do ab exercises where you have to put your feet in the air and hold it for as long as you can? And basically, all of them would be doing that. And if anybody's foot touched the ground, they all had to start over again. And they could never get through it. It was like torture. See, there is something about Urban Meyer was, if you've ever been around Urban Meyer, he's as no-nonsense a coach as there ever will be.
Yeah.
Now, the off the field, I think those are 2 different things. I think the off the field, yes, he was the worst.
Way permissive,
but he was the most if you screwed around as a player, that you could feel in the documentary, like this is not a team where if you miss a tackle, you're screwed on this team.
Yeah.
Which is something like, that's how you, I'm so sorry to say this, but that's how you win in college football. You just like, it's a Belichickian, there's 3 coaches that are in my mind. Nick Saban, Bill Belichick, and Urban Meyer are all the same.
Okay, and both Urban Meyer and Belichick have something very much in common, which is Aaron Hernandez. And, and ignoring red flags, massive red flags.
Yeah, but you might have it, okay, to play devil's advocate here, this guy, you might have a team that has nobody arrested and everyone's taken care of. If they're 4-8, guess what? Who's getting fired?
Well,
coach immediately.
Is it too much to ask for both that you can have guys who are committed to and also not getting arrested?
Yeah, 100%.
That's too much to ask.
Yes.
Why?
Because you can say that right now, but you know that if the coach isn't winning, he's going to get fired. So the only thing that matters is winning.
Wait. But you really don't think you can have a successful college football program where guys are not getting arrested? That's insane, Perloff.
I think you can. But I don't think.
Well, not you have a team of 100 people.
I don't think
not everyone is going to be on the same page. I get that, but this was an epidemic of arrests. Yes?
I just think when you have a college football team and you're evaluating the coach, the only thing that matters is wins and losses. He's getting paid on wins and losses. He's going to get fired on wins and losses. He's not going to be evaluated on what happens off the field unless he gets caught.
Well, how about Art Briles? I mean, people like that who allow, these horrible other scandals, and maybe not like Florida, although I haven't watched the full doc, so I don't know. There is some domestic violence stuff in there. But as far as sexual assault, like you can't just say like, listen, just judge them by the wins and losses. That'd be crazy.
I know. I hear what you're saying. Art Briles is good. I mean, the Art Briles thing is so complicated, and like the reporting was all crappy around Art Briles. Nobody even really understands what was happening at Baylor. I think that's a separate case. But I do think, like, the kind of arrests, like Aaron Hernandez, for example. Yeah. Like, I don't know. He killed people in the pros. I'm not sure what they were supposed to do in the Florida doc. They didn't have anything. Did
they acknowledge any part of Aaron Hernandez?
Not to the part I've got. I mean, yeah, they get a prize recruit named Aaron Hernandez, and Tim Tebow is friends with Aaron Hernandez. That's all
yada, yada, yada. That's the whole story.
But I don't know.
Because he was getting in fights and getting in trouble at Florida.
Yeah, I hear you, but
didn't he fall to the 3rd round because of the character issues at Florida?
So the documentary does talk about Urban Meyer turns away. I mean, Paul Finebaum says there's no coach that turns away more than Urban Meyer.
Like turns a blind eye.
Turns a blind eye.
Yeah.
So they said that in the documentary. So the critique that it's just a complete sort of puff piece for Urban Meyer is just not accurate, because they do. I mean, literally, they have the number one voice of college football saying this is the one coach that looks away from off-field trouble more than any other coach. So it's in there. And the other thing, too, is anyone who thinks that this is a puff piece for Urban Meyer, just like, whew, I mean,
you didn't see it that way.
I mean, you see him losing you see a man who's in the midst of a 4-year nervous breakdown. And you can't miss it. Like, he's starting to crack at the seams in the doc. And I'm only through episode 3. Yeah. I haven't even gotten to his mental breakdown yet. But you can see he's like, I'm not sleeping. Like, winning is so important to me. I can't think straight. He's just a weird guy.
Interesting. So I've watched one half of one episode. Should I continue, or should I move on to something else?
I think you should. I mean, first of all, it's just like, who does not want to watch 2007 college football? Like, they just have great footage of them going to LSU and going to Tennessee, and they have great crowd footage, and you get all the excitement.
The football porn.
Yeah, it's great.
855-212-4CBS. Yes.
Also, the locker room footage is amazing because they're all insane. Those guys, like Brandon Spikes, future NFL linebacker, he's out of his mind. Like, they have great footage. You're right. They did not turn a critical eye towards the Florida program. But, it's if you like college football, I think you should stick with it. I think you'd like it.
Okay. 855-212-4CBS. We've been talking about Shohei Ohtani, and he's got a tear in his UCL. Now, there have been pitchers who have pitched through that. Masahiro Tanaka did, not for long, but he did pitch through a tear. You also have not many guys who have come back from 2 Tommy John surgeries. You got the very famous Nathan Eovaldi. We'll see if Jacob deGrom will be a guy who can do that. But it's not the norm that you come back from 2 Tommy John. So if he's not going to pitch again, if he's going to hit, and that's just our speculation, does he lose some of the luster? Is it still the must-see TV, the Ohtani show? To me, I say it does lose some luster. It's not. There's a lot of great hitters in baseball. I love watching great hitters, but if he's not doing both, it's just another great baseball story. It's not an all-time story. Yes, Andrew?
So I did put up that poll. Is he still must watch? And it says no, 61%. He's just another hitter.
Let's go to the phones. 855-212-4CBS. Landon is in Savannah, Georgia. Hello, Landon.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Excellent.
I talked about him last week with my wife. I told her that, wherever he signed next year, when they came to Atlanta, we were going to buy tickets for the entire series so I could watch him pitch and hit. But now with his injury going forward, when he does get back on the field and if I have availability, I'll go watch him because I would love to see a great player. But it doesn't become must-see. It doesn't become move your schedule around to watch this once-in-a-100-year talent.
Right. I agree with you. And Landon, good call. Thank you so much for making it. It's true. You would move heaven and earth to go see Ohtani, if he was coming to your city, if he doesn't sign with your city, because if you know he's going to pitch.
He's come to my city a bunch of times. I've never moved heaven and earth to go see him.
Really? I've gone out to Yankee Stadium to see him when he came 2 years ago.
Okay. Did you see him?
No, but he didn't pitch.
I think he got shelled in one of the. He didn't get through an inning. He got through like 2/3 of an inning, gave up like 6 or 7 runs or something like that.
That was earlier this year.
That was
last year?
Last year, the year before.
I remember, didn't they move him? They moved him off of they moved him back a day or something.
I do vaguely remember that as well.
And everyone lost it because you got Ohtani in New York. And
Let me ask you a question. Is there anybody you'd pay more than him right now? He's 29 going into free agency. Who's more valuable?
Oh, if I'm a GM?
Yeah.
Can I think about that for a second?
Yeah, I think he's going to be the highest paid player in the history of the sport, and he's going to be a 2-time reigning MVP. I still think there's definitely some buzz there. You're right; it's not Babe Ruth stuff, but he's still like a top 3 players in the league. No?
Yeah, he is. Ack, what do you think? Does he lose some luster, Ohtani, if he does not pitch again?
It's hard to say because if he keeps posting offensive numbers like this, then I say no. I think his legacy is already made. But if he keeps putting up, 40 home run, 50 home run seasons, I'd say no, it doesn't lose any luster.
No. Then he's going to be he is going to have to be like chasing history, right? It's going to have to be something.
He could be an all-star every year, and, there's nothing wrong with that.
No, that's great, but there's a lot of guys who are like that.
Yeah.
The best of the best. I'm not I'm not turning my nose up at it.
Yeah, but I'm saying right now his offensive numbers this year are still off the charts and might be even better had he not been pitching. So
that's what I'm sort of assuming, that there might be a bump. That could be a false assumption. I totally understand, but you would think that there's a reasoning that his hitting will get better when he focuses, and he's already far and away the best hitter in baseball. So I don't know. We compare him to Babe Ruth. Babe Ruth hit 60 homers. What was it? Ack, you know this. When Babe Ruth hit 60 homers, what was the second place that year?
That I don't know.
Probably 28.
No, I think at the time when he hit 60 the first time, no other team had hit 60.
Yeah. So I'm assuming that Shohei is going to hit 140 home runs next year. No, he could be the Babe Ruth. If he's like Babe Ruth, then he's going to be the best hitter in baseball for the next 10 years, and it's going to be valuable.
855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Okay, we've got a lot coming up, including what did the Big 12 commissioner have to say about the University of Texas, and we are also watching a fire sale happening in the NFL. One team looking very committed to getting that top pick next year. We've got details for you. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff after this CBS Sports Update. Here's Rich Ackerman.
Sports Flash.
Well, a couple of high NFL draft picks have had disappointing starts to their careers. Trey Lance, the 3rd pick in 2021, was supposed to be the 49ers' future. He's now their 3rd-string quarterback, but GM John Lynch said he's likely going to remain with the team for now. Isaiah Simmons, the 8th pick in 2020, dealt to the Giants today for a 7th-rounder, and the Cards also sending tackle Josh Jones to the Texans, according to ESPN. The National Steven Strasburg is retiring after 13 seasons. He made just 8 starts after the Nationals' 2019 championship season. Baseball this afternoon, the Nationals in front of the Yankees by a score of 5-4 in the bottom of the 8th, despite Aaron Judge's 4th home run in the last 2 days. Gleyber Torres has also hit his 20th for New York. C.J. Abrams with his 14th for the Nationals in this one. Bottom of the 8th, Colorado and Tampa Bay are even at 3. Isak Paredes with his 26th for the Rays, while the Dodgers and Guardians have resumed with L.A. in front 6-1 in the top of the 9th of the suspended game. And bottom of the 3rd, Boston all over Houston by a score of 11-0. I'm Rich Ackerman.
Football season's almost here. From the college game to the NFL, no one has you covered like CBS Sports Radio. Find us 24/7 on your local Odyssey affiliate, SiriusXM Channel 158, streaming online, or the free Odyssey app.
CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. It is Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio. If you ever miss any part of the show, you got the Maggie and Perloff podcast. It's right there for you. 5-star reviews are always welcome. You can download it wherever you get your podcasts. You want to watch the show, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio. Guido's in full effect right now, and the Purple Drinkers. Okay. We got an update on the Trey Lance situation. Never has so much ink been spilled on the third-string quarterback, but that's what happens when it's the guy who a team traded up to get in a draft, and now he's not even the backup. That would be news enough in itself. He's actually the third string because it's going to be Brock Purdy, Perloff, then it will be Sam Darnold, and then it will be Trey Lance. So here was Kyle Shanahan earlier this morning talking about Trey Lance being the third quarterback.
I'm really hoping so. I mean, this isn't a thing that we're giving up on Trey. This is more of how Brock played in his 7 games and then how good Sam's looked. They both looked good. But we do have to make a decision here. We got to keep it real in that way. But I feel very, very fortunate to have both of them here. I really hope when it's said and done that all 3 of these guys are here. And we needed 4 guys last year. If we can have Trey as an option here, I would feel extremely happy about that.
Okay, so there was a report earlier in the day yesterday from Diana Rossini, who's now of The Athletic, that the 49ers had been engaged with the Minnesota Vikings earlier this offseason in an effort to trade Trey Lance to the Vikings, but those efforts fell apart. So here was Shanahan on the Murph and Mack show, KNBR, addressing that report.
That's not accurate. So, look, people are going to, if I responded to every report, I'd have no time in my day, but that is not accurate.
Sorry, that was John Lynch, of course. Pardon me, I misspoke. So that was John Lynch. He says the report's not accurate, that they were not trying to trade Trey Lance. Excuse me, on the future of Lance.
Yeah, so Trey Lance is third string. I get it. But to me, first of all, he's not a normal third stringer. Because third string in San Francisco is like 1C. 1C on a normal team because we know we're going to see the guy.
Yeah.
I just don't understand.
It's so funny that we just take that as a given. It's like, oh, San Francisco, that quarterback's getting hurt.
Well, I'm curious who the fourth guy is now that Josh Johnson now has a team. Like, they better bring in somebody else. Bring back Nick Mullins in this trade because you're going to need him. So people out there on Twitter are implying that Trey Lance did something wrong, like you.
Like me. I didn't. Okay.
Please read the tweet and let's get into it. Let's get into it.
I did not want to make this about me, okay? It's not about me. It's about the San Francisco 49ers, a team with Super Bowl aspirations, and what they're doing at the most important position on the field, okay?
Read the tweet, Maggie.
All I did was post the video of Perloff and I talking yesterday, and I did call Trey Lance an epic failure as a pick. But as an epic failure as a pick, both sides are wearing that, right? It was an epic failure by the 49ers on misjudging their evaluation so badly that they thought that he was going to be the next franchise quarterback, and he's not even, isn't the starter and not even the backup. And I also think it's a failure on Trey Lance's part that he couldn't beat out Sam Darnold for the backup role.
Well, I just don't. First of all, I disagree.
Okay.
Because
which part?
Last year, Trey Lance beat Jimmy G out in a competition.
But that competition was stacked towards Lance. Remember, they told Jimmy G to stay away.
Yeah, but Sam Darnold's not going to be your QB3. Why would you sign Sam Darnold to be your third quarterback?
Why would you make the guy you traded up to get your third string quarterback?
Because
it doesn't
he's
make
23,
sense.
and he's only started 3 games. Sorry, he started 4 games.
And he got hurt in 2 of them.
Yeah, here's the thing. Trey Lance got hurt. That is the bottom line. He broke his ankle in week 2, and then he had another surgery because it didn't take the first one. Like, he seriously injured himself.
Okay, but is he healthy now?
He's healthy now, but still he's a little behind him. He has no experience whatsoever. I feel like when you're calling a guy not that you're saying that. You didn't say the word bust, but you got to see him actually bust in actual games to determine he's a bust.
I didn't say his future. I didn't say his career was over.
You said it was an epic fail as a draft pick.
It is.
How can you say that until we see him fail on the football field?
Okay. Well, I mean, he can't even get on the field to fail there because he can't even beat out Sam Darnold. Okay. So apparently this drew the ire of not just Perloff, apparently. But all of a sudden, Trey Wingo, the former ESPN SportsCenter host, is coming after me. He said, epic failure of a pick? That says way more about the team that drafted him than the player. To put it all on him is really... And then he used a curse word. Trey, get off my timeline with your bad language.
Wait, what was the curse word?
I can't say it. We'll get fined by the FCC.
But I don't understand, though, because you did not put it all on the player. Although, I think he read it as you're saying Trey Lance screwed this up.
Well, I think that... I put it on both. I thought I was putting it on both. Maybe I was not clear about that. So maybe the interpretation, I had my, emphasis was in the wrong spot, but maybe the interpretation was not what I intended. I intended to put blame on both the organization for trading up to get him, and clearly they have not been able to develop him. And then I also want to put blame on Lance for not being able to beat out Sam Darnold. And I think they both have to wear responsibility there.
Okay. I don't know. It feels really
But I did not see Trey Wingo coming.
Also,
Hi, Trey. How are you?
I think you're underestimating Lance's injuries, too. I mean, the guy is super young, has not had a chance to play at all.
Brock Purdy's elbow was hanging off of his forearm, and he's back out there. So
Brock Purdy missed like 3 months of action, it seems. He was, it was the end of February, and he got his surgery, and he was back by July. Trey Lance got hurt the second week of September and really wasn't running until next March.
Okay, but I'm just saying, he's healthy now.
Yeah, but he's so I understand. Purdy
was a rookie.
Purdy's played 20 times more than
And
Trey
to
Lance.
Maggie's point yesterday, Lance has been in this offense for 3 years. This is Darnold's first year. Yes, he's been in the league longer, but he's also...
What do you mean he's in the offense? Like, in what sense?
Like, he knows the playbook.
The playbook in the quarterback rooms. He knows the coaches. He knows the offensive staff.
He wasn't in the quarterback room because he had to zoom in because it was COVID year. He's not really been there.
Last year.
That was last year. Yeah, he was not in the quarterback room for like a huge chunk of time because he was so hurt. Like he really got waylaid by this injury. You guys saw it was disgusting.
Listen, I totally have sympathy for a guy who went through an injury like that.
Yeah.
But
apparently not.
He's healthy now. If he was still hurt and he wasn't able to compete, then I would say I would totally understand. Of course he would be third string. He's not healthy. But it appears that he is, and this was a true competition.
Another point, I don't think it was a true competition because explain to me, say that Trey Lance was the backup. Then what happens to Sam Darnold?
He's the third string.
And you have to cut him, right? You're not going to have a 26-year-old guy who started the last 5 seasons be your third string quarterback.
And been terrible in those seasons that he started.
He hasn't been very good.
Sam Darnold, I mean,
no one owes anything to Sam Darnold in this league.
Yeah, but he's clearly not going to be a third string quarterback. You're clearly going to cut him in that.
Well, I don't know. Listen, I just heard Kyle Shanahan. We just played the clip on him saying that they're not intending on trading Trey Lance because they need 3 quarterbacks and they might need 4. So is that not true?
But when your third quarterback, presumably not even going to dress, that's not Sam Darnold. I mean, basically, that's a practice squad quarterback.
Okay, so that means you think they're going to trade Trey Lance.
No, I mean, Trey Lance is 23. You could definitely keep a 23-year-old kid as your third-string quarterback. You're not going to keep Sam Darnold there. It doesn't make any sense.
But you're talking about it being a roster spot. What's the difference of they're both dressing to not play?
Because...
in theory, they're both dressing while Brock Purdy's out there taking passes.
All the guys in that practice guy, third string, practice squad, they're all 22, 23 years old. They're young, developing players.
Yeah.
You don't put
Or they're Joe Flacco.
You don't put a veteran. Guy. Is he QB3?
Yeah.
Where?
The Jets.
Still?
He's actually not there this year. They brought in one of no, he was the backup last year to Zach Wilson. They brought in
he would
Tim Doyle or whatever his name is.
Yeah, he would never be QB3.
He was when they first traded for him.
Behind who?
Mike White and Zach Wilson.
Was it? Oh, okay, whatever. I mean, my point is generally it's not a normal spot for Sam Darnold. He's not going to be a third string. He wouldn't be a third stringer anywhere else, right? I mean, he was brought in to be the backup quarterback. So the backup quarterback is there for if in the second quarter your quarterback gets hurt, he's a veteran, he's savvy, can go in there and figure it out.
He wasn't brought in to be the backup quarterback. I disagree.
He definitely
I think that he was brought in as insurance in case Purdy wasn't ready, or in case Lance wasn't ready, or in case there was some issue.
So you think they were going to cut him,
or maybe trade him and wait for a training camp injury and someone else might take it?
And I'm sure whatever contract they signed him to is not largely guaranteed. He probably doesn't have a huge cap number, so if they cut him, it's not a big deal.
I don't
they
think...
brought in Darnold as an insurance policy.
Yeah,
they didn't bring him in to be the potential starter in case Purdy went down. He's been so bad in every stop that he's been at, and I'm a Jets fan. His first pass was a pick six.
He rebounded nicely in that game, though.
What?
He rebounded nicely in that game after that bad first pick six.
He still lost to Baker in the next week.
By the way, I understand, like, Sam Darnold, look at his stats compared to Zach Wilson last year. I mean,
Zach Wilson might be the worst quarterback in the history of the NFL. So I don't know if
according to Mike Greenberg, who joined us.
But wait. I think, obviously, like, Kyle Shanahan likes Sam Darnold. I don't think he brought him in to cut him.
Okay, but what does that say about Lance? Does he like Lance?
I don't know if he likes Lance.
And so there it goes.
But
and that's why it's a flawed draft pick. And that's why it's an epic failure of a draft pick. Because if he doesn't, it's like they missed. If Shanahan doesn't like him, and it's 3 years later, he missed.
But nobody's sitting here arguing and say, I'm not saying the Niners really nailed it with that pick of Trey Lance at number 3 in 2021. I'm just saying, like, to call him a bust already seems...
I didn't. I said epic failure of a pick. I didn't say bust.
Epic failure of a pick, not only because of what Lance has not done, but also I was talking to Maggie before the show about this. So the 49ers moved up from the 12th pick to 5 in order to 3 in order to get that. Then the Eagles moved back, and then the Eagles moved forward again. The 3 picks that were used by those different draft picks that were
shuffled around,
Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle, Micah Parsons. Those are 3 guys that the 49ers could have had instead of Trey Lance. And then Justin Fields also went later on. They could have had Justin Fields without having to trade all these picks. Not only was it epically failure because of what Lance has not become, it's because of what also they could have had. It was awful. For a team that's a Super Bowl contender,
so you're not sure?
It's Darko Milicic to the Pistons.
Mike, you've seen enough of Trey Lance to guarantee he's never going to be a good quarterback?
No, but he might not be on the team.
No, but he's not going to be a good quarterback for the 49ers. That's why it's an epic failure for that pick.
So Trey Lance, but how was Trey Lance an epic failure? What's the game where you guys saw him where you're like,
because after 3 years in the league, he can't beat out Sam Darnold, who sucked for the Jets and the Panthers.
It doesn't mean that he'll be a failure forever. It just means as of this moment, it is a failure.
I think a safer way to say it, I think it was a bad pick, but I think you guys are wrong to put it on Trey Lance. I honestly think Trey Lance has played 4 games in the NFL.
One
of them, he broke his leg in the second play.
And we're putting it on the 49ers. We're putting it on both. It's both parties have to wear this year. And you know what, Samter? It's a credit, actually, weirdly, to the 49ers that they're still a Super Bowl contender, even though they did whiff on all of those potential game changers. Okay, a lot more coming up, including the NFL preseason debate countdown.
2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Taking less is going to happen within 2 weeks. We'll know who's right about this. I think Joe Burrow's going to take a pay cut.
Yeah, driving to Cincinnati?
I don't want to drive to Cincinnati on this one. I think we need something a little higher stakes than this.
What a bad bandwagon fan you are. Don't even want to drive to Cincinnati to see your beloved Reds.
All the driving bets are always one way because you don't like driving long. You don't even like driving an hour and a half somewhere to
I don't
New
even
Jersey.
like commuting into the office. But I do it for you guys.
Yeah, I'm like,
I don't want to be home.
You're like, Perloff, why don't you drive to El Paso? And I'm like, you just complained because you had to go from North Jersey to another part of North Jersey.
I do not like to be in the car.
They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
Yeah, we are. Welcome into the show. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff, CBS Sports Radio. You can watch the show, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio. Join the Weekdays. Those are our loyal listeners. And a lot going on today. Shohei Ohtani, unfortunately, has a tear in his UCL. Dun, dun, dun. That means most likely, I guess, Tommy John surgery. You could play through it. Guys have pitched with partial tears, but I think the pitching part of his career, Perloff, is over.
Probably.
It's on life support, put it that way.
I mean, listen, in some ways, his pitching career is completely illogical already. It defies everything we know about baseball, so maybe he'll defy everything we know twice.
That's
it's possible. He shouldn't be out there pitching now. I mean, no one else is since Babe Ruth.
I know.
So it is incredible what he's already done. Maybe Shohei Ohtani will just make history again and come back.
There have been guys who have pitched well after a second Tommy John, so you know, it could happen. And again, you're right. He's like a modern marvel. So if anyone could do it, it could be Ohtani. But if he's going to get this massive contract in free agency, it's still going to be huge because he's a great hitter. But more than that for the fans, you know, is a little of the shine off of the story if he can't pitch. There's a lot of great hitters, and Ohtani's one of them, maybe the best. But no, that's one thing in sports, and that holds one part of appeal in terms of baseball. But the Ohtani must-see every day felt like he was making history and breaking some kind of new ground. I mean, that part of his story is could likely be over.
Yeah, but I think he still has some shine off of that. Even if, he doesn't pitch again, he's still the guy who
did it.
And, there's something fascinating about him. He's gigantic.
Yeah.
He's a lefty, and he's so fast for his size. There's a lot of weird, impressive things about him. And you're like, well, he's like, what's the difference between him and Aaron Judge? Aaron Judge is also an all-time exciting player.
He is, I know.
So I don't think that's an insult.
A lot.
Yeah, I mean, I think Aaron Judge, if he was on the field, would be must-see TV too. So I think Ohtani's even more interesting because of everything he's gone through. And also, I think we will keep this little thing in our head. Whoever signs him, maybe they will pitch him again. Or maybe, as you said last hour, maybe there'll be a special inning where, sometimes the center fielder has to pitch. Well, what if you bring in Ohtani?
That's usually in a blowout, though. This would be like in bottom of the ninth, game 7.
I just think there's a lot of uniqueness about Ohtani that'll carry over, even if he is just a hitter. Yes, it's not going to be the same, but I think I always said just make him a hitter because I think he could be the best hitter in baseball for a long time. I think he can challenge home run records, and if he gets a little bit better, I don't understand, Maggie.
He would have been more valuable as a pitcher if his teams could ever get to the postseason.
Yeah, he had to win in the postseason. I agree with that 100%. But how does he have time to scout all his opposing batters and scout all his opposing pitchers? So in my mind, I'm like, okay, he's going to use that extra time not pitching to study the pitchers, and he'll be even better hitter.
I know,
and he's already the best hitter in baseball.
But it never seemed to.
Never bothered him. No, he just got up there and raked.
I think the dude just got a capacity for that. He didn't seem to be struggling in either aspect. So you got that part of it, and then his free agency was going to be really unique because if he was pitching and hitting, but we always thought it would be a very small amount of teams who would actually be in the running for him. Because, where could this salary go? $600, $700, $800 million. Your eyes, will roll back in your head with this crazy money. But now if he's and I say just a hitter, but if he is just a great hitter, then how many more teams maybe get in on this if he's a between $400 and $500 million player?
Well, I can't imagine it's a lot. It's a much bigger pool, right?
Maybe it's 7 or 8 teams as opposed to 3.
Okay. Yeah, we were talking 7. Obviously, the Rangers are always in on everything. The Padres are always in on everything. The Yankees,
San Francisco
Mets,
Giants, Dodgers.
Yeah, the Giants.
They were in on Judge.
Yeah, but but Judge ended up at 360. I mean, isn't Ohtani going to be closer to 5?
Yeah, but again, he's a little younger, so I think you can justify it. I mean,
Ohtani will be. I think he'll be the highest paid player in history. I don't see that being a huge pool. And weren't all those teams going to go after him if he was a pitcher too?
Maybe. I just don't know. When push comes to shove, a lot of people were saying, really just the richest of the rich owners were going to be the ones who are left standing. The Steve Cohens, guys like that. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how many teams can afford $500 million. To me, it has to be a huge market, and I don't know. Also, do you give any chance now that he's hurt? Maybe the Angels have a better chance of keeping him.
I don't think so. They're 10 games out of the wild card. He said he wants to go somewhere where he can win. It is proven that Los Angeles, the Angels, that is not that place.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure how this affects him with the Angels one way or the other. Honestly, I don't think we know what Ohtani's thinking. Do you have any hunch of what? I mean, you're a Mets fan. Do you think the Mets get him?
This is what would happen.
Yeah.
The Mets get him. He never plays either again. He never pitches again or hits again. Something else would happen. No, that's just my fatalist view from being a Mets fan. But I just wonder, does this maybe create a little bit of a red flag now with teams? Probably not enough. It might scare a few off. Now he's had 2 Tommy Johns. Is there durability? Are there durability issues? I don't know.
I could just see him. Oh my gosh! If he was wearing a Dodgers uniform in that stadium, it'd just be. I can have it in my mind's eye. I don't know how much more talent they actually need out there. I don't think it makes any difference.
In your mind's eyes, it's like during meditation.
I just feel like
manifesting it to the Dodgers.
No, I don't. Can't you guys see him in that gray uniform? I mean, obviously they have Freeman and Betts, and it's not like they need him. But I think he's going to just be another bat on a great team.
He would look so good in pinstripes.
Well, listen, you got the Yankees.
By the way, with that short right field, too.
Oh, my goodness. He would hit 900.
I know.
He likes to hit it to center, though. You ever notice that about him?
Yankees have been looking for a lefty bat like that for a long time. Never made a call to Bryce Harper, though. Yankees also in an interesting spot because there could be a little bit of, I don't want to say a desperation move, but the last time that when Shohei Ohtani turned the Yankees down, they went out and made the trade for Giancarlo Stanton, a little bit of a knee-jerk reaction that I'm sure they regret. now that Brian Cashman, the general manager, is maybe on the hot seat, would he try to pull off like a Hail Mary move to try to get Ohtani? Anyway, coming up in a little bit, David Samson is going to join us, the host of Nothing Personal and the former president of the Marlins. He was giving out these kind of contracts. Actually, gave out the contract to Giancarlo Stanton. So he'll join us a little bit later on, about 20 minutes from now. Let's get to our NFL preseason debate countdown.
NFL preseason debates countdown. 14 days.
There you have it, guys.
Wow, 2 weeks.
There we
go.
Perloff and I just looked at each other like our eyes just lit up.
Yeah.
2 weeks until the NFL season, Perloff, and the debate series continues. You want to set it up?
Okay. We've actually been arguing about this on and off. New England, not a lot of expectations for the dynasty Patriots. I think head coach Bill Belichick is in actual trouble. I think if they are really bad, I think owner Robert Kraft is getting impatient. He's an older gentleman. I think that there actually could be some smoke here that the end of the Belichick reign is coming near if the Patriots are bad.
I 100% disagree with that. Bill Belichick, age 71, and this could be, I don't want to say the comeback season here for the Patriots, but if they are competitive, like even if they miss the playoffs by a shade because they're playing in a really tough, not just AFC East, but AFC, even if they miss the playoffs by like a game or something, I don't think that's enough to make them part with Belichick. And I don't think the Patriots are going to be a train wreck this year. What about the Patriots says this is going to be a disaster? If anything, they are making up from the mistakes that they made a year ago. They fixed a lot of those mistakes from a year ago. They have a real offensive coordinator in now. Maybe Mac Jones actually looks like a competent quarterback. And that might fix a lot of what was ailing them. The defense was still good last year. It was the offense that was broken.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it sounds like a lot would have to come together. So you think if, let's say they're 7-10. I think
7-10. That's
where are they going? What's the point? Why would you keep Belichick?
Well,
just to keep going 7-10, 8-9 for the rest of your life.
But how do you know that changing coaches is going to get you any closer? Like, are you 7-10 because the rest of the division is so good, or are you 7-10 because that's your actual talent level?
Well, if you're 7-10 with Mac Jones a quarterback this year, then you must think, okay, well, next year it's just going to get worse. We'll be 6-11. Like, I just think that Robert Kraft is a guy who's used to winning. He doesn't want just a slow decline into mediocrity. And you're saying that they don't make the playoffs. That's mediocre by definition, sort of middle of the pack. I think the middle of the pack stuff is getting old because there doesn't seem like, I don't see the upside or the hope that they're going to be elite again. It just doesn't feel, I don't see the path to them getting back to the Super Bowl.
Well, I think you have to hope, if you're a Patriots fan, you've got to hope that Tyquan Thornton, the wide receiver, takes like a step forward and can have good chemistry with Mac Jones. You got to really hope that the running game is going to be solid, like it has been with Ramondre Stevenson, and they obviously signed Zeke Elliott, so we'll see if he has anything left in the tank. And they still have Hunter Henry, so they can have a competent offense here, and then the defense is still good.
I mean, you have a division with Tyreek Hill, Garrett Wilson, and Stephon Diggs, and you're trying to sell me Tyquan Thornton?
I did
you
try
might as
to
well
sell
fire
you that.
Belichick right now. If that's what you got, you're like, well, we'll see if Tyquan Thornton's chemistry with Mac Jones, really, that's what you're bringing a water gun to a real gunfight here, Maggie.
I could have said Devontae Parker, and you would have laughed me out of the building. I mean, listen, yes, I don't know.
Not only that, like, their defense is good, but it's funny because other than Matthew Judon, does anyone know any of the players? Maybe is Uche still there? Like, they're just a no-name, well-coached unit who is battling to be 500. I just don't think Robert Kraft sees the upside.
I think you've heard of Lawrence Guy, right? Gottschall.
Oh, yeah.
You know
listen,
Gottschall.
I have three Lawrence Guy jerseys. What do you mean I've heard of Lawrence Guy? Who the hell is Lawrence Guy? I mean, this is a no-name. They basically slowly become a complete generic nothing franchise.
Okay, but a Belichick coach defense is always going to be a good defense. And whether you know the guys on there or not, he has definitely earned that. There's one other thing about Belichick, and that is his place in history, I mean, is solidified. But in terms of like the actual numbers, 19 wins away, Perloff, from becoming the all-time leader in wins for a head coach in the NFL, to pass Don Shula. So is that important, do you think, at all to the Patriots for him to break that record in a hoodie on the sidelines at Gillette?
It's a great question. I see your point. It's a really good point. How many does he
19.
Yeah, I guess it depends how they do this year. Because if they really fall off and they're 5 or 6, then it's going to be like, oh, we're not going to wait 4 years for that. I think they have to have a winning season. Otherwise, I mean, you really think that he's got a lifetime pass here?
I don't know if it's a lifetime pass, but I mean, listen.
How do you not?
I think he.
Well, I mean, Tom Landry didn't have a lifetime pass, and
he has 6 Super Bowl titles in 20 years.
Also, they picked him over Brady, so it's a little.
And he spurned the Jets in the process.
Well, I mean,
you also shot down your rival.
But I think that he does get the pass. I wonder if at some point do they try to I don't know. Bring someone for the front office.
Nobody gets a lifetime pass in the NFL. Even the great coaches end up at the end falling apart. I mean, Vince Lombardi. Vince Lombardi didn't retire a Packers coach. He retired a Washington coach.
Yep. No, but they might try to nudge, wink, wink. Hey, listen, why don't you resign? It's over. I don't think Robert Kraft will ever come out and fire Bill Belichick.
I don't know. Tom Curran, who's the best Patriots reporter there, has said that he's really on the hot seat and has been since Brady left.
Okay, but
that's crazy to me.
No, I believe Tom's reporting. I also think that Kraft is a bit of not a saber rattler. I think he's someone who sends messages through the media, either him or his son, whoever's given the information. I think that they like to send that type of message.
Right. The message is we're going to get rid of you if you can't start winning again. I mean, what's the point of watching this all just fizzle out for years? This could be a major mediocre run.
Okay, but what if it's 9-8? What if they sneak into the wild card in a very tough
I mean, they do have
AFC.
They do have Lawrence Guy.
I mentioned Gottschall, right?
So here's the question: is it going to be a major mediocre run because of Belichick?
Stu calls him Larry Guy.
Larry Guy,
and his middle name is The Cable.
So not right. That's so mean.
It just feels like there is no
Dietrich Wise. Anybody?
I feel like they're they're just a low voltage team. Yeah, you're right. They could be good because Belichick will coach them up, and they'll find ways to win.
They'll be smart.
They'll do things like that.
Although they weren't last year.
That game against Buffalo where Mac Jones threw 4 passes.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
They'll special teams their way to a winner here or there, but it just doesn't feel like. Honestly, you see a path back to the Super Bowl. I just don't see it, and I think Kraft is sensitive to the fact that Tom Brady won elsewhere. Just I don't know. You're right. He does deserve a lifetime pass. But Kraft's 82. He's not going to want his final years to be a run of 4 straight 7 wins.
6 Super Bowls. I mean, he's up the value of this franchise by probably 500%.
And if they're mediocre, it's not because of Belichick. Maybe Belichick, the GM, maybe they say, hey, listen, we're going to bring in an actual GM. But they're not going to be mediocre because of Belichick. They're going to be mediocre because they have mediocre talent.
I mean, last year was bad. You can't. There's no sugarcoating that. Last year was bad. He put 2 people who should not have been an offensive coordinator, or Matt Patricia, Joe Judge combination was terrible. I mean, he's got his son out there on the defensive side, and he's one of the coaches.
One of the coaches. More ornamental, but I think he was co-defensive coordinator with the former linebacker.
D'Amico.
Guy with not D'Amico Ryans,
Gerard Mayo.
Gerard Mayo.
So.
But they were 8-9 last year. They were 10-7 the year before, and they were 7-9 the year before.
So
they're starting to be pretty consistent, or right around the same win total.
Well, I mean, they had to do something in terms of quarterback, and they decided to go with Mac Jones. He had a good rookie season,
definitely,
and then he took a step back his second year. And I don't think all of that's his fault. And now let's see what happens this year in year 3.
I don't see a lot of optimism out there, and it's just the media. But I'm not hearing anyone who's excited about Mac Jones.
It's so funny. As Perloff is saying this, there's a banner that's up in the TV in our studio that says SI predicts Pats will win the AFC East.
And you were saying Bill Simmons predicted that too?
Yeah, Bill Simmons. But Bill is, the ultimate Boston homer.
I could be totally wrong. Are you telling me that they're going to beat the Jets, the Dolphins, and the Bills?
I'm not telling you that, but I think that the Patriots are going to be it wasn't a train wreck last year, but they've cleaned up a lot of the self-inflicted wounds from a year ago. So I do not think Belichick's on the hot seat to get back to our debate.
So you think you're going to bet the over on them?
What's their total?
I think they're 7.5. They won 8 last year, so I assume they should improve on that. I don't know. I feel, part of it is circumstance. That division is crazy. That's it for all these teams. Your Bills, your Jets. Of all the great news coming out of the Jets camp, they still, they have to face Miami twice. It's just it's almost unfair. Spread some of that talent to the NFC and give your teams a chance.
This schedule for the Patriots is brutal to start off against your Philadelphia Eagles. Aren't they retiring? They're doing something with Brady.
That's a Brady game.
Yeah.
Right?
Retiring to Jersey.
Oh, sorry. 6.5 wins for the Pats this year.
Yeah, I'd go over. Philadelphia, Miami, but both are at home. Then at Samter's New York Jets, at the Dallas Cowboys, New Orleans, Vegas, then Buffalo, at Miami, Washington, Indy before your bye. Then after the bye, yikes. Giants, Chargers, Pittsburgh Steelers, Kansas City, Denver, Buffalo, Jets. Whoa.
What?
That is a hard schedule.
That's like a tour of bad weather cities,
Oh, my
too.
goodness.
It's like, hey, can
take
you
it
show
back.
me a former industrial town with very cold winters and lots of snow? Here you go. Here's the Patriots schedule.
Enjoy the tour. I mean, you don't have to travel very much. I guess that's a positive.
Oh, man,
But
this is tough.
I guess add Denver. Anyway,
I would love it, by the way. If the Patriots were great and won that division, that would be awesome.
it
Because
would be the thing no one saw coming. I guess Sports Illustrated.
then we can all agree that Bill Belichick is the greatest coach ever. If he wins this AFC East this year, he's the greatest coach of all time.
He already is the greatest coach of all time.
I don't know.
Well, who do you have? Parcells?
Paul Brown, Bill Walsh are right there, Lombardi.
855-212-4CBS. That's
Great debate series.
Here we go. 855-212-4227. You're welcome to weigh in. Is Bill Belichick on the hot seat? You're welcome to share your thoughts on Shohei Ohtani. And if a little of the luster is gone, if he's not able to pitch anymore.
The thing with Belichick is every 7 and 10 season with Tom Brady not being there makes it feel like it was Brady. That's why I hesitated. 5 years ago, I was like, Belichick's the greatest coach ever. Now I'm starting to worry. It's kind of like Russell Wilson losing his Hall of Fame spot because he's so bad. But I just think Brady kind of, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like Brady being great without Belichick hurt Belichick.
It did. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Again, welcome to weigh in there. Coming up, we do have the former president of the Miami Marlins. David Samson is going to join us, the host of the Nothing Personal with David Samson podcast. We'll talk about Shohei Ohtani and his future. How much money is he likely to get in free agency now? Do that next. Don't move.
You're in a 5-minute break. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. Minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
This portion of the show is brought to you by Wesley Financial. Stuck in a timeshare and want out? Contact Wesley Financial Group now and get a free timeshare exit information kit at wesleyfinancialgroup.com. Gosh, we're such cynics. Immediately, Ohtani gets hurt, and we're saying, maybe the field of teams that can pursue him expands.
Yeah, right.
We're all, and everybody in the room is imagining, I'd like to show Ohtani
Maybe
next
you
year.
can play on my favorite team. Well, let's talk to an expert here, somebody who knows what it's like to hand out massive contracts, to make the kind of decisions that these general managers and presidents are going to have to make when it comes to Ohtani, and that's David Samson, who's the former president of the Marlins. He's also the host of the Nothing Personal with David Samson podcast. Hey, David, it's Maggie and Perloff. How you doing?
Hello, how are you?
Great to talk with you, and thanks so much for joining us because you're really the expert here. So you hear that Ohtani now has a partial tear in his UCL. From your chair, that means what?
It means now he's one free agent player next year and not two. The whole theory that his agent was going to use is that he's a middle-of-the-order bat and a top-of-the-rotation starter, and you go at a team and say, give me $50 to $60 million a year because I'm giving you two players. Now he's barely going to hit next year, maybe, DH toward the end of the year, and won't pitch till 25, and he may never pitch effectively again because coming back from 2 Tommy Johns is not easy to do. Very few major leaguers have done it, Nate Eovaldi being one of them, Daniel Hudson being another, but not many. So it really changes his value and changes what he can expect as a free agent.
Wait, just to clarify, David, you don't think that he's really going to be able to hit regularly at the beginning of next season?
I would say that it would be very if I'm signing him, you're asking me if I'm looking at signing him as a free agent and I'm looking at what his value is to my team. Do I think if he has Tommy John, which I would suggest he have immediately and not continue to play anymore this year, have the surgery as quickly as possible and start that recovery? So by the time next April comes, you're talking 8 months. Could he be effective as a hitter? Maybe, but the guarantee that you thought you were getting prior to this injury, the thought of the greatest player of all time coming to your team and what that could mean, it's just not that way anymore, and that's very unfortunate.
David Samson is our guest. He's a former president of the Marlins. He's also the host of Nothing Personal with David Samson, the podcast. It's great. So, David, we talk numbers. It's all funny money to us, because it's abstract when we talk about these big numbers. But what was Ohtani, the full total? I mean, you mentioned about $50 million a year, but what was the full total amount that he may have been looking at if he had been perfectly healthy versus now? And how does that maybe open up the amount of teams? Does it open up the amount of teams that could be making a real pitch to him, like be real viable destinations?
So what's going to be interesting is that you have a situation where if I'm Ohtani's agent, I'm looking for a team who's going to give me an opt-out after 2025. Because if I come back and I'm able to pitch, I want to go back into the market and get my full value as both a number one starter and the best hitter maybe in baseball. So an opt-out's going to be important. And that opens up the possibility that more teams could bid for his services because you're making a much shorter term commitment. What eliminates smaller market teams from going after an Ohtani is not just the amount that he wants, but the number of years toward the end of the contract where it's unlikely that he'll be worth it. Because as great and historic as he is, he can't be who he is now when he's 37, 38 years old. It's just not going to happen. So on a shorter deal, more teams are available to it. And so it'll be interesting to see what kind of creativity is used in order to try to attract Ohtani.
Is there any chance Shohei Ohtani's agent says, okay, now that he's not going to pitch or he won't pitch, he can put more energy into hitting and he'll be even more dominant as a hitter? Does it work like that at all?
I love where your head's at, because can you imagine going to a team and saying, you know what, I'm not going to just be the DH. You can put me in the outfield. I have an above average arm. I'm going to commit to be your right fielder. I'm fast enough and big enough. I could play center field and bat second or third for you. And as a team, I would say that's fantastic. That puts you at $40 million a year for 9 years. Maybe we'll match Aaron Judge. Yeah. But he wants to get above Aaron Judge and above Scherzer and Verlander on what their annual is, which is $43 million. So he was looking to break both records. And all I'm proposing to you, it's going to be slightly more difficult now because of the reality of this injury.
David Samson is our guest. He's the former president of the Marlins. He's the host of the Nothing Personal podcast, Nothing Personal with David Samson. Go check it out. But so, David, listen, I understand Ohtani is all-time great, right? He is incredible to watch. However, it does feel like, and this is hypothetical, if he can't pitch anymore, the story changes a bit. It's not the same once in our lifetime that we're going to watch. If you're the president of the team or the general manager of a team, well, the GM wouldn't think about this, but maybe the president, are you thinking man, I thought I was going to be able to sell more tickets or be, the business part of this was going to be much bigger because I had this unicorn, and now I have a very great player, but he's not Babe Ruth anymore.
He's clearly closer to the pack. In these past 3 years, you can't deny that he's better than Babe Ruth, better than any player, any 3-year stretch I've ever seen. But at the end of the day, you're signing for future performance. The biggest mistake that teams make in free agency is when they pay for past performance. The real way to do it is to pay for future performance. And so when you're signing Ohtani, you're going to get sponsorship increases. You're going to get the excitement of the offseason jersey presentation and the excitement of the standing ovation when your team gets him. But then you actually have to win. And the truth is, he's been on the Angels, 2 of the top 5 players in baseball, I could argue, and they've got as many playoff wins as I do since Ohtani got into the league. The big donut. So you need to be able to put a team around Ohtani, and to do that, you have to have payroll availability. So you can't have a team who's giving 50% of its payroll to one player. It just doesn't work.
What about the fact that he's Japanese and he has so many Japanese fans, and you get some extra sponsorship, and I know Artie Moreno's gotten a boost from some of that. Does that add to Ohtani's value?
We had Ichiro, and we got extra sponsors for having Ichiro in Miami, but it doesn't come close. You can get 7 figures. You can get multiple deals in 7 figures. You're going to sell some more tickets, but the math doesn't work. The way it only works is if you win and if you draw more people. But in terms of, let's say, Japanese broadcast deals because they want to show Angels games, that's split between all 30 teams. So whoever would sign him would not get that benefit of the increased broadcast deal.
David, got a couple other things for you, but just maybe to wrap up Ohtani here, your best ballpark on what he actually signs for.
So I've had to adjust my thinking because going into yesterday's action, watching him pitch game one, and watching his velocity down, I certainly did not ponder that he'd need a second Tommy John. I had him well above Judge. I had him about 45 to 50 million by 9, and I thought that would be the minimum, but someone may go to 500 to get it done at a 10th year. Now, I just don't know that I would be giving him $500 million over 10 years. I don't think that's a responsible contract. On the other hand, I would give him the opportunity to make that. So I would give a lot of incentives. If he starts games, if he does come back and pitch, I would offer him a deal that pays him millions of dollars per start, as an example. And so that's why I say creativity is going to be the name of the game this offseason.
David, while we have you, another big question out there with one of the crown jewel franchises in North American sports is the New York Yankees, and it's been a terrible season for them. And listen, Aaron Boone, the manager, might be a casualty here. No one was ever really in love with him in this market to begin with. But Brian Cashman, the general manager, is the real interesting one. You've done deals with him before. Obviously, Giancarlo Stanton, the most famous one, maybe. But Cashman is like so ingrained with the Steinbrenners. I mean, he has worked for that organization since the 80s. Do you really think they could move on from him after this season?
I think it's going to be hard. And Maggie, just going forward, I did not trade Giancarlo Stanton.
I'm sorry.
I'd already been fired.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, Jeter did it. I'm sorry.
All of the debits for trading Miguel Cabrera and all the bad trades. That one I didn't do.
You know, I'm so sorry.
Said.
That was Derek Jeter, and Cashman got the better of Jeter in that one.
Oh, I mean,
would
Jeter,
say I'm sorry. Jeter got the better of Cashman in that one. Jeter got the better of Cashman.
Keep in mind, Stanton had a no-trade clause that I did give him. I signed Stanton to that contract, so all of the Yankee fans angry over his contract, that sort of anger I can handle. Brian Cashman has been so successful. To Yankee fans, I have a message. You guys have had amazing, amazing success. You win 100 games. You're in the playoffs. You go to the LCS. Yes, only one World Series since 2009, but it doesn't take away from what you've been this century. But changes do need to be made. I think Cashman stays. I think they do make a change at manager, and I love Aaron Boone. Had him as a player. I think they need a new voice, but what I really think is they need to say they have a new voice. They need to start again because the team looks stale to me. And when your offense struggles, you tend to look stale. But when you look at the team and when you look at the money that is owed to the players aren't really going anywhere. So they need to find another way to get the team back to winning.
David Samson, I promise I'll never make that mistake again. David Samson did not trade Giancarlo Stanton. He gave Giancarlo Stanton all that money after he won an MVP. David, thank you so much for the time. Nothing personal with David Samson, the former president of the Marlins. We always appreciate your input. Thank you.
Have a great day. Thank you.
How dare I?
Yeah.
I know. It was Jeter. Obviously, it was Jeter. What's going on in my mind, Max?
Wow, it was pretty close. It wasn't that far off.
Samson, Jeter. I don't think they get along very well.
It's interesting about what David said about Shohei because, Shohei's still playing right now as far as we know. So it doesn't sound like...
Yeah, they're shutting him down from pitching.
Yeah, the way I read the story is he's not going to get Tommy John right now. And the only reason, and not knowing so much about this, Bryce Harper seemed to fight through his UCL injury and get back by almost the beginning of the year. So in my mind, I didn't think Shohei was going to shut it down as a hitter. But if that's the case, then I amend some of my previous arguments.
Well, and that's Samson. That was his suggestion, right? If you need Tommy John, just get it right away because you're 10 games out of the wild card spot. You're going nowhere.
So I think I know a lot about injuries. I see about 4 different doctors for orthopedic reasons. Every time I play basketball, I break something.
Yeah, we have your doctors on this show as guests.
There's nothing I understand less than the human UCL, because ulnar collateral ligament. Yeah. Because Bryce Harper hurt it. He's back on the field. Brock Purdy, basically, his arm was hanging off his UCL. He's playing preseason week 2. It used to be a year-long injury. Shohei needs Tommy John, but he's going to go out there and hit it.
He hit in the second game of the doubleheader.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I do not understand. How important is this part of your arm? I know it changes pitchers' careers, but it just seems like there's a lot of different strategies to dealing with this injury.
Yeah, it's just different for position players.
It's different, right? And quarterbacks apparently too. Remember, we kept asking during Super Bowl week, "Hey, can a quarterback do they get Tommy John? And we didn't even know.
We talked to Joe Montana about it. And then Joe Montana was like, did I ever tell you about the time when the muscle came off the bone and we just went and collectively vomited?
And by the way, he described it. He's like, yeah, so the muscle came off the bone. So I went out there and I was trying to throw the ball. I'm like, your muscle came off, and you're still like, you know what? I should still probably play.
Listen, Steve Young's sitting right behind you. You better get out there. He's breathing down your neck.
He's like, my arm is literally hanging off my body and I can't feel it, but I'm still going to try and give him my best effort. Those guys are nuts.
855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. All right, so you got a lot there from David Samson. Always appreciate when he comes on the show. Coming up, one team gives their star player a deadline. Who is the player and what is at stake? We'll get to that in just moments. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff after this CBS Sports Update with Rich Ackerman.
CBS Sports Flash.
It's been a busy day for the Cardinals. With just a couple of weeks to go before the season opener, Isaiah Simmons will get a fresh start after things didn't work out for him in Arizona. The 8th pick overall in 2020 is headed to New York to the Giants for a 7th-round pick. The Cardinals also reportedly sending tackle Josh Jones to the Texans. The Broncos looking for a fresh start under new coach Sean Payton. Have a big injury concern heading into the preseason finale after Jerry Jeudy was carted off today with a hamstring injury. Steven Strasburg announced his retirement after 13 seasons. He's been out since last year and has made only 8 starts since the Nationals won the World Series in 2019 when he was the series MVP. Washington today taking a series from the Yankees, winning the rubber game by a score of 6-5. C.J. Abrams with his 14th homer in that one. Right now, bottom of the 7th, it's Boston with an 11-1 lead over Houston. The Dodgers win the suspended game from the Guardians 6-1. Right now, top of the 2nd of the regularly scheduled game. They are scoreless. Tampa Bay a 5-3 winner over Colorado. I'm Rich Ackerman.
Football season is almost here. From the college game to the NFL, no one has you covered like CBS Sports Radio. Find us 24/7 on your local Odyssey affiliate, SiriusXM Channel 158, streaming online, or the free Odyssey app.
CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the show. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Just a little soccer talk in the break. A little Lionel Messi talk in the break. Still can't figure out the MLS schedule. Got to be freaking Einstein to figure it out. Just I don't understand it. 855-212-4CBS. Dean is in Indianapolis, wants to weigh in on our preseason debate countdown. Today was whether Bill Belichick is actually on the hot seat. I say no. Perloff says yes. Dean, what do you think?
Maggie, I agree with you. If Bill Belichick is by far the greatest coach in the world. I don't like him. Let's say it this way. I'm not a fan of him.
Yeah.
I'm a Colts fan through and through, and I was a Niners fan before the Colts got here in Indy. And Walsh was a great coach. We had a couple decent coaches here, but Belichick is by far the best coach in the world. He 3 years, Brady, first 3 Super Bowls, Brady was a game manager, period. No ifs and buts. And then when he went to Tampa, that was a bought team. There was nobody on that team that won a Super Bowl that was on the scored a point in the Super Bowl was on that team before, even the kicker. Just saying. So
I hadn't thought about that. Dean, very interesting. Appreciate it. Did Mike Evans not win Yeah, I got to think about that. Listen, I think you're right about the Brady first 3 years. I mean, yes, that was more defense and special teams, especially in those really tight Super Bowls. But listen, I think we're kind of splitting hairs. I just think you accumulate everything, right, that Belichick has done for the organization, and they made a decision to keep him over Brady, and I think they're going to sit with it. And I don't think that decision is like, oh, you're just like throwing bad money after good. Like, no, I still think he's effective, and I think the Patriots are going to be better this year.
Better than 8-9? Their
schedule is brutal, but 8-9 might get you in to the playoffs. I think they're going to be competing for a playoff berth right down to the final week of the season. How about that?
8-9. I can't. That would mean that
I know, but that's your theory, right? That all these teams are going to beat up on each other.
But they're gonna kill the NFC. So no, I don't think 8-9 will quite get it done. I think you're going to need a winning record. I don't know. I mean, I was just thinking about a guy, Tom Landry. Tom Landry really fizzled at the end of his career. I think if he had ended at the top, he'd go down as really one of the top 2 or 3 coaches ever. But a lot of people saw the end.
Yeah.
So I think you can denigrate your legacy.
Who fired Tom Landry?
Jerry.
Yeah. And I think.
But I mean, I think they were bad by the end. So I think that's kind of why. And I think if Belichick's bad by the end, they're going to fire him.
Do you think that the Patriots have Jimmy Johnson waiting in the wings?
I don't know if Jerry knew that Jimmy Johnson was all that.
No, but he was really successful at college, obviously.
Yeah,
and that now is not a precursor for the NFL at all.
Yeah, Landry had his last 3 seasons were 7-9, 7-8, 3-13. I just think the unique circumstances of Brady leaving and winning a Super Bowl hurt Belichick. It just did.
Let's go to Bruin James is in California, wants to talk about the big story of the day, and that's Shohei Ohtani is going to shut it down from the pitching side because of a tear in his elbows, UCL. Bruin James, how are you?
Good afternoon. I'm good. Thank you for taking my call. I appreciate it, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Just want to, how dumb are the California Angels? they just turn around and can't get out of their own way, it seems like. Okay, they had Shohei Ohtani. They could have put him on the trading block, got all kinds of stuff for him, all kinds of goodies like at Christmas time, and we're going to go for it. We're going to go for a playoff. No, the smart play would have been to trade him, get all you can for him. You most likely he was going to go to the Dodgers anyway, and now he's not. He's going to have Tommy John surgery. He hurt his elbow. Now, you're the Angels. What are you going to get for him in the offseason?
Well, nothing. He's a free agent. You get Bubkiss. A qualifying offer. They'll offer the qualifying offer. They'll get a draft pick.
You got 3rd round pick or something.
My fault. I'm sorry about that, but you got other guys going to be coming in. Do you really want to play for the Angels? You're coming in as a free agent. You're looking out there, trying to find a job somewhere. Do you really want to play for the Angels?
Can we be realistic, though, James? Do you really think the Angels were going to get these prospects and develop them into great stars? This was not going to – they could have gotten this great package, and that it would have fizzled. And we probably would kill them because they can't develop pitchers. We know that as a fact.
Yeah. James, it's been tough. Thank you so much. And James and I are on the same page because I said it was flawed. Like, the process was flawed. They went all in at the deadline. I know some people applauded it. I'm not cheering for Ohtani's injury. That's not at all. But the odds that you were going to make this great run were just really not in your favor.
But are you sure you were getting these great offers for a half year of Ohtani?
Well, now you're getting nothing.
You're getting nothing. But I also think I'm not going to say David Samson is wrong. I do think that this injury cannot have snuck up on anybody in MLB. It's not like people were like, "Oh, I'm going to pay $600 million for Shohei Ohtani, and he is going to be able to pitch and hit for the next 10 years." Nobody thought this was going to work, did they?
But here's the thing.
How many times has he been hurt this year?
No, but blisters. That's
blister
whatever.
And back. Blister is no small thing.
No, it's not a small thing, but that's not it doesn't mean you're injury prone. That's not you're breaking down. But the back, yes. The one thing though is he got Tommy John his first time in 2018.
Right.
Usually Tommy John is good for 10 years. So you wouldn't have thought after 5 and change or whatever or 6, you wouldn't have thought that now he would need another one. I know it's not perfect for every guy, and some last longer than others, but it's generally about 10 or 11 years. I thought about Tommy John.
But it has to be more wear and tear to be an everyday player and be a starting pitcher, based on the fact that it hasn't been done since Babe Ruth in 1919.
That's also because teams don't want to do it. I think because guys
get hurt,
but also Ohtani had some leverage here too, because he was coming over from Japan, and so he would only go to a team that says, "This is what I want to do. Let me do it." A lot of guys aren't in that unique position.
Well, why do teams not let them do it?
I think because most guys aren't good enough at both. And the injury factor.
Yeah, I don't. If somebody had signed him for 10 years, $600 million, thinking that he was going to be able to keep this up, I think that would be naive. And I also think the trade market. I don't know. First of all, I don't think baseball prospects. Every time I see these massive trades, everyone's like, "Oh, this prospect." Baseball's not like basketball and football. These prospects are really speculative. Then again, so are basketball and football.
Yeah, that's the whole thing.
Yeah,
Talk to Trey Lance about that.
I think the Angels would have found a way to screw up whoever they got. I actually still support their idea to go. They were 3 games back.
Dan in Vegas in the chat, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio, said the Angels have a better chance at signing Ohtani now that he has the injury.
That thought crossed my mind as well.
That to me, listen, as an outsider, no disrespect to the Angels fans, but that to me is the most boring outcome of this. Like, we've already seen what can happen when he's on this team. Let's see if they can, get him somewhere else so we can see him in October.
I like what Mike was saying. Get him to Yankee Stadium because the right field fence is so close. I mean, then we're talking about Babe Ruth numbers.
Listen, the Yankees tried to move heaven and earth to sign Ohtani the first time when he was coming out of Japan, and he didn't want to be on the East Coast.
Yeah, I know. By the way, the Phillies ballpark in Ohtani, oh my God, he hit 96 home runs. I know we can't. There's no way they can afford him now, but I'd like to see him get in a hitter's park and see what he can do as a hitter. I mean, would it shock you? I know you're not as excited about him as just a hitter, but would it shock you if he chased 65 home runs?
Well, how about Bonds of 73?
That's a lot.
No kidding.
But what Judge did last year. See, I think he could be that kind of. Yeah, that's worth a lot.
But of course, David Samson said he's not even sure when he would get back on the field next year. Yeah,
that was a bit of a wet blanket.
Yeah.
That reality.
So next season, he won't be chasing that record, most likely. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. If you ever miss any part of the show, the Maggie and Perloff podcast, Chef's Kiss. Go there. You can download wherever you get your podcasts. If you can rate and review 5 stars, we'd be so appreciative. It helps us do some of the things we want to do around here. You can also watch the show, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio. Of course, our incredible CBS Sports Radio affiliates and the free Odyssey app. Okay, coming up, the one grudge that Jerry Jones will not give up. Dude's hanging on to this thing with a vice grip. We'll get to that in a moment. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
The Altuve buzzer is definite.
Oh, you guys are nuts if you think he actually had a buzzer under there. He did it.
What? Wait, Stu, do you believe the buzzer?
I believe the buzzer.
You do?
I think everybody
nuts.
believes the buzzer.
No. Think about how silly that really is. You think all these years later, nobody would have spilled the beans? Nobody said a word?
Yeah, but it was so awkward the way he was hiding something.
No, he had a stupid tattoo and didn't want people to rip his shirt off.
Oh, get out of here.
I believe that.
Who on earth?
Sure.
Anyone I know with a tattoo wants to show that tattoo more than anything in the world.
Wow, you guys, I thought I was a conspiracy theorist around here. You guys sound whack.
They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
Another training camp injury. Hey, welcome to the show. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. It is Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio. So glad to have you on a very busy Thursday. So got an update, and it looks like it's not as bad as we first feared, Perloff. And that's the Denver Broncos.
Yeah.
Who had troubles with injuries last season. And a lot of things kind of got together to tank the Broncos season last year. But this year, starting off with some tough news, too, and that's Jerry Jeudy. And he was carted off the field. The wide receiver was earlier today in practice. There's an update from Ian Rappaport, not expected to be season-ending. Looks like a hamstring, and he'll definitely be missing several weeks.
Man, this happened last year. It's just the beginning, guys going down. I was actually thinking about, they have Cortland Sutton still, but should they have gotten into the DeAndre Hopkins game or somebody? Because it just doesn't feel like they can keep their targets around.
You know, it's a great point. And now, like, who's left out there on the market? Like Jarvis Landry? I mean, it's not Julio Jones. I mean,
who's that Sean Payton guy? I actually thought trade for can't guard Mike Thomas or something.
I know, but he's been so unreliable.
I know. Well, that's why I think he could be available. Somebody who really knows Sean Payton's system, because I'm looking at the depth chart right now. Marvin Mims Jr. is third on the, is basically their second receiver now. He's a second-round pick. I just don't really see where this is going. I worry about Russ. He needs some targets here. Last year, he had nobody to throw to.
No.
By the end of the year, all the receivers were hurt. So I just don't get why certain teams, we talked about this earlier, why are the Broncos and Chargers always having millions of guys on the IR?
Yeah, same thing with the 49ers quarterbacks. It's like we just 49ers assume that you're going to need several of them to get through a season.
It's funny. We have not been talking a lot about the Broncos.
Well, when Sean Payton took aim at Nathaniel Hackett, we talked about that for a little bit. When he has the old latte defense that he had too much coffee and spilled his guts to a reporter.
But that was more about Hackett than Sean Payton. Last year, the Broncos were the it team, and now they're under the radar, which is good. But I am worried that this is all going to go bad.
Well, but you're a big Russell Wilson defender. I mean, you still think it's not his fault. He's got a lot left in the tank. That's where you and I differ. I'm more skeptical that Russ is going to have this big resurgent season.
It would help if he had some healthy guys around him. I'm worried Javonte Williams hasn't really shown he's healthy yet. You're like, well, just hand the ball to Samaje Perine. Samaje Perine's been on 5 teams.
I know, but I said they should go trade for Jonathan Taylor, and you're like, no, not a Sean Payton guy.
Do you think there's NFL teams?
He doesn't have a bell cow.
Yeah. Are there NFL teams that are just cursed? Is there such a thing as just cursed?
Yeah, I root
for
for
one.
one.
So Sandler, so Stu.
Yeah, oh my gosh. Definitely.
I used to root for one, but now we're not cursed anymore, the Philadelphia Eagles.
I know. Why the sports gods decided to bestow, all this great fortune on Philadelphia, I'll never understand.
You say that with such disdain. But
why you guys?
I just don't understand why teams can't stay healthy. And we're going to sit here in the next 2 weeks, 14 days till the NFL season starts. There are going to be so many predictions about this team and that team. It's all going to come down to who's healthy.
I know. It's just like it always is. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Get to the Cowboys in a second because I got some news there. But also, so Steven Strasburg retired today, or it turns out he's going to retire at the end of the season. Washington Post is reporting it. A guy who had all the hype in the world coming to the Washington Nationals. And his career is so unique, Perloff, because for a while, he was like the poster child for pitch counts, innings limits. Scott Boras, his agent in the dugout, saying he's going to shut it down, even though the Nationals were still in contention for the playoffs. Like all these headlines, he's gotten paid a ton. He has won a World Series and was the World Series MVP. And what year was that? 2021?
2019.
2019, pre-pandemic, sorry.
It was Washington won a World Series and Kawhi Leonard and Toronto won an NBA. It was
so bizarre.
The two most outlier championships.
We should have known something big was coming to the universe right after that. But anyway, so he does win a World Series. He does win a World Series MVP. He's made gobs of money. I'll get the exact number for you in a second. Over $200 million. And you asked me what question?
Do you think his career has been a success?
I think definitely yes. The World Series, up until the World Series and the World Series MVP, completely changed him. But he got hurt the next season. They paid him off of that World Series MVP, obviously, and then he got hurt again.
Let's take money out of it and talk about where his expectations were as a pitcher when he came into MLB and what he actually did. I think you could argue he's been a disappointment in some sense because he was supposed to be kind of like the next Nolan Ryan, maybe. That good. That's what people were talking about. And he has 3 All-Stars, as you mentioned, World Series MVP, tons of money. But I just feel like there's something wanting there. It could have been more.
It always was like a what could have been. He was a 3-time All-Star.
Pretty incredible.
He ended up pitching for 13 years, but obviously not all of them were healthy.
Not too many. I actually looked up a stat. He is 7th all-time in strikeouts per inning, which sounds really impressive, except that the top 6 are also active pitchers. So, it goes Chris Sale is 1, Robbie Ray 2, DeGrom, Darvish, Scherzer, Randy Johnson, and Strasburg. So it's a modern skewed thing. He has these incredible numbers. His strikeouts are ridiculous. I feel like 131 career wins is not enough for a guy that talented.
Yeah, I mean, the wins are tough because, how many great teams was he actually on?
Didn't have the health.
He will retire with a career ERA of a 3.24. It's pretty good. It's real good.
Yeah, it's real good.
But only pitched 200 innings twice.
He's 4th at another stat. He's 4th of current pitchers in win percentage all time. Right now. He's 41st all time. His win percentage is at 64%. So he has the great numbers. It just felt like he could have been more.
It was a lot of hype. A lot of hype. And I was almost right there on his career earnings.
What is it?
I said 200 million, 196.5.
But
not bad.
It's funny though. You said it when you say Steven Strasburg in 10 years. If say my kids ask me what was Steven Strasburg like, I'm like, oh, that's a guy who had the pitch count. He's gonna be the most famous for that.
Known for it. 855-212-4CBS. Doug is in Pennsylvania. He's got a thought for us on a new friend of the show. Hey, Doug, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
We're doing excellent. What's up?
Good. So I got a text from a buddy named Mike last night who was on cloud 9 that he called into your show and you guys were having fun with his laugh. He is a 5th grade teacher of mine, and he is one of the most passionate, energetic, positive teachers, and that laugh is 100% authentic.
Oh, God.
Thank you, Doug. Wait, so he was your 5th grade teacher, or he's one of the...
No,
oh.
I'm an assistant principal.
Got it. Okay.
Building.
Well, first of all, we always say thank you to the incredible teachers and educators out there. Like, thank you so much. We bow down to you for what you do for our kids. But I knew that laugh was real, Perloff. Knew it. Okay.
Doug, can you apologize to Mike for me? Because I called him out afterwards. I thought it was fake, and I feel terrible now.
Listen, he was showing anybody who listened today, that this was going on, and he was on it. He had his 15 minutes, and he was.
Oh my God! I just feel bad. Tell him to call back in anytime.
Okay, so if you're wondering what we're talking about, Doug, thank you so much. You're the best. We'll talk soon. This is what Mike's laugh sounded like.
Come playoff time.
I love it. I was tickled by it. He's got a laugh that makes me laugh.
That belongs in a movie.
People said Kawhi Leonard in the chat.
Yes. Very much.
5th grade teacher Kawhi Leonard.
Wait, actually, when you just play that, is that Kawhi or is that him?
Kawhi's a little, that's the same.
Wow. Wow.
Oh, it's close.
Same.
Except the Kawhi is a lot more disturbing for some reason.
Cool. You want to know Kawhi's disturbing because it sounds like he's out of breath. Like, oh my gosh, he's choking.
Yeah. Kawhi doesn't sound like that noise comes out of a human. I've never heard a laugh like that. Mike's a little closer.
Mike sounds pleasant, at least. Yeah.
Yeah, Mike sounds very positive.
Oh, we love it. And the fact that he's great teacher, energetic. Love it. Love teachers. Thank you. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. See, it's like one big family here, Maggie and Perloff. Like, we're on all over the country, but we get a nice little family feel.
Yeah, I love that Mike was telling people about that. That's great.
I know. There you go. And actually, a good way to do that, download the Maggie and Perloff podcast. Or if you have the free Odyssey app, you can hit the rewind function. It takes you back 24 hours. Yes.
I feel like all of our callers from now on should just show us their best laugh. And we have to just determine who has like the best laugh of our callers of the week.
Show us. I was like, wait, show us your what? I don't want to know. I don't want to see anything.
You show me yours, I'll show you mine. I mean, that's just how it goes.
So we'll have to basically tell a joke to every caller, have them laugh.
Actually, they should. I think Mike was telling his own jokes and laughing at his own comments. I think they should tell a joke and laugh at their own jokes.
I forgot what the topic was, but that's not a. That wasn't a diss on Mike. I'm a goldfish. Oh, it was the Sixers.
Come playoff time?
If anyone's going to laugh about the Sixers, it should be a nice big laugh.
No, that's an accurate thing to laugh at. Like, okay,
James Harden.
We could do it like this. Let's rehearse. Maggie, I think the Sixers are going to win the NBA championship this year. Yeah, I don't know why. Like, yeah, a sports take that makes you laugh. Give me one.
What makes you laugh?
The Bills will win a Super Bowl.
Don't say that.
The Jets will have a solid, dependable, steady season with no drama.
That's so good.
The Raiders are led by the strong, steady leadership of owner Mark Davis.
Jerry Jones will stop doing weekly interviews.
That's almost too far, Maggie.
Yeah, actually, just do our Cowboy Quickie. Should we do that real fast?
Wait, can I just do one more?
Yeah, go ahead.
The Mets are going to figure it out.
That's just mean. We're just piling on Maggie.
It's so easy.
I threw in the Jets, too.
I know. And the Raiders. Gosh. How about Shohei Ohtani will re-sign with the Angels? Oh, man.
By the way, the Angels actually end up being okay now because, they're not getting Shohei again next year, but at least he's not pitching, so that's solid.
Yeah,
for
they
Angels
got
fans.
no prospects for him. They got nothing in return. He's going to leave for a qualifying offer pick. If we have time, let's do Cowboy Quickie. You know, we talk about Jerry Jones, Perloff, and how he's so loyal to everyone. You know, loyal to Jason Garrett all those years and loyal to a lot of different players and stuff. But, man, as loyal as that guy is as much of a grudge holder as he is. I almost respect it. So, another year of the Cowboys Ring of Honor getting announced and another year with no Jimmy Johnson.
Man, I'm not surprised, but I wonder if there's ever going to be a breaking point where finally Jerry lets him in.
I'll tell you when it's going to happen.
When?
If the Cowboys win a Super Bowl, then he'll let Jimmy in.
Got it.
Right now, while Jerry, I know technically he's won Super Bowls with Barry Switzer, but while everyone still gives Jimmy Johnson the credit for those Super Bowls, I don't think Jimmy's getting in. Jerry needs his own, and then Jimmy will get in.
In other words, Jimmy's never getting in.
He's never getting in. That's your Cowboy Quickie. I mean, Jimmy's in the Hall of Fame, the actual Hall of Fame. So is Jerry, yet not the Ring of Honor. It's a grudge, man.
Yeah, I feel bad. Jimmy, how old is Jimmy now? He's getting kind of up there, too.
How old is Jimmy Johnson?
Jimmy Johnson is 80.
80.
Wow, how is Jimmy Johnson 80?
And Jerry's 80.
I did not know.
Wait, is Jerry 80? Hold on.
I'm pretty sure
I think he is 80, right?
I did not know they were the exact same year. Huh.
Yep, both 80. They are never going to bury this hatchet. Never.
Would it be great if they did now, though?
It would be.
It'd be a good story.
It would be, but, you know, people aren't going to change this late into their life. I don't know if Jerry's going to do that.
I mean, the fact that you're saying they're both 80 and the next sentence was they're never going to bury this, I was just wondering what the next sentence was going to be.
Come on, Safter. Listen, in this day and age, 80's like the new... 80's the new 40.
Yeah, you have 2 terms left as president.
Yeah. Maybe a couple arrests. 855-212-46. 855-212-4CBS. A lot more to do. Speaking of laughs, coming up next, awesome. We get the thoughts of an Emmy award-winning actor and comedian, Rob Corddry. You remember him from Old School, Daily Show, Hot Tub Time Machine, Ballers. Amazing, hilarious. He's going to join us next. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. And Perloff, I know when we do our fantasy football league, the loser of our league is going down in an epic way. And we're so pleased now to be joined by somebody who is taking these fantasy football bets to the next level. And that is an Emmy award-winning actor and comedian and one of our favorites, Rob Corddry, good enough to join us on behalf of Jack Links, where they are doing an awesome promotion where you can really punish the loser of your fantasy football team. Rob, thanks so much. And boy, can we all get behind this cause.
Yeah, right. Thanks for having me. Yeah, what's not to like about a good comedy roast of course, roasting someone who actually loses something, and meat snacks.
It goes hand in hand. I mean, that's peanut butter and jelly. We'll get to all the specifics of what's going on in just a moment because fans are going to love this. And if you love making your friends feel uncomfortable and awkward, this is for you. But Rob, you're a massive Boston guy, Massachusetts, right? Born and raised Boston sports dude. Okay, so a couple for you. Number one, big show debate between me and Perloff. Do you think that Tom Brady has played his last snap in the NFL?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so, right? That's what it's not like at some point it's not like Motley Crue who does their like final tour and then comes back with another tour. Like he came back once before. He's at an age where you can't do that anymore. It's not playing drums on a roller coaster.
Well, Rob, Maggie's a Bills fan, so she's haunted by Tom Brady and the Patriots. So basically until he's 80 for Brady, she is not going to believe he's done.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry to break it to you. I think let the guy rest. Let him. I'm upset about it. The Patriots they're in shambles now. But I just think the guy's given us so much. Let's let him walk away.
If he was walking off into the sunset of eating ice cream sundaes and like double cheeseburgers, I'd feel like he'd actually enjoy the retirement, but he's not. He's working out crazier than ever. And of course, Rob was in 80 for Brady. So you know this very well. Like you were also in Ballers. You've been around athletes on set a lot. Like what's your favorite memory or scene that you've shot with a professional athlete?
Oh my God. So many of them. Terrell Suggs was great. He was a T-Sizzle. He was sort of a recurring character on Ballers. Consistently high bar performer. A lot of these guys, my theory is that their job is smashing into other people. It's terrifying and risky. And so when they act, which is not the hardest job in the world, it's not defending a quarterback, it's so easy to them. So they're all pretty good. And he was great. He was a good improviser. They would call cut and he wouldn't stop. He would just keep going.
And going. No one's going to tell him to stop.
I would have to ask him. I was like, dude, are we still at a seat now or is this you?
So you obviously got to know The Rock on Ballers. I have a theory that if The Rock had a choice, he would have rather had a successful NFL career and be a Pro Bowler than everything he's got going now. You probably talked to him about this. If you gave him a mulligan and gave him a choice, a 15-year NFL career or the greatest superstar in America, which do you think he would choose?
I'm sorry, I'd have to disagree with you on this one. I think he would. I think he doesn't have any regrets.
Okay.
Yeah.
He was injured in Miami.
We rarely spoke of regret. Yeah, he talks about the U very fondly, but never once had I heard him say, I wish I could go back and do it again.
How about you, Rob? If I gave you a 10-year NFL career or your fine acting career, which would you take?
I would rather be a B-level character actor any day I'm just scared. I live in fear of everything. That is terrifying to me.
Yeah.
Rob Corddry is our guest, the award-winning actor and comedian. He's joining us on behalf of Jack Links. They've got an awesome meat roast for your fantasy football team thing going on where Rob will roast the loser of your fantasy football team. Got more details about that in just a moment. All right, so you're not, willingly going to go onto a football field. I get that. I'm with you. I'm scared of that stuff too. Have you partied though with any of these guys? Have you partied with Rob Gronkowski? You're a big Boston fan and Patriots fan.
No, if by partying you mean getting a picture taken with Gronk at a video village on set, then yeah, we partied, man. But no, man, they don't want me there. I'm the bald guy from Hot Tub. By the way, I don't party.
Yeah.
I'm a 52-year-old man who parties it sounds exhausting to me.
But Gronk will still be partying when he's 50.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Isn't that crazy? Good for him. Good for him. I wish, I wish him the best, and I wish God, wish I could do it.
I think he'll be fine. So, Rob, how many leagues are you in? Fantasy.
Right now I'm in 4 leagues.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wish you could come and roast my draft because there's things, and I know all of us can relate to this.
Go ahead.
What is the worst draft night crime? Taking too long for your pick, picking somebody who's already been taken, oh my God, I can't believe Travis Kelce fell to the 7th round, or starting the kicker run way too early. What annoys you the most?
Oh God, I very rarely see anybody picking a kicker too early, although there was a guy who we had a keeper league and he kept his kicker, which is crazy.
Wait, was it Justin Tucker?
With the kicker? No, I don't even think it was. And that wouldn't even be worth it. But I think one of the biggest universal mistakes is people get nervous and they get quarterbacks too soon.
Mm-hmm.
Unless they're in a 2-quarterback league. Although I will agree, Perloff, I'm in an auction league. So it's a bunch of drunk guys, halfway through it, sitting around going, $20 for what's his face. And they'll be like, he's gone, man. I do it all the time. Everybody does it. No one can keep track of who's there. But on a snake draft, it's a little bit easier. It is more of a crime for sure.
Rob Cordry is joining us, of course, the Emmy Award winner. We mentioned he's joining us on behalf of Jack Links. The Ultimate Meat Roast takes place in early February 2024 in Los Angeles. So, Rob, tell us about this. The whole fantasy football league gets flown out to LA. They get a front row seat for a live stream roast fest.
Yeah.
And you get to do some research to roast the loser. You can talk to ex-girlfriends and stuff.
Yeah, not just that, but I'm gonna keep tabs on the league. It's gonna be like I'm in 5 fantasy leagues. I'm gonna hopefully watch their draft and just start writing there. And you can pretty much get an idea of who's good and who's bad and who might, who the contenders for loser will be. And so I'll start writing up some material. But yeah, when it comes down to when a loser has lost, I'll study him like a textbook.
Okay, well, a couple things. Perloff was born in Philadelphia.
So sorry.
Went to the same high school as Kobe. I'm giving you some background material that you can, use when Perloff eventually loses our fantasy football league.
Wait. What do you mean sorry? As I recall, the last time we faced the Patriots in the Super Bowl, we did win, Rob.
Yeah, no, I'm saying, listen. It's not Philadelphia sports teams that I have a problem with. It's the fans. They're terrifying. They're terrifying. I mean, Boston's bad. I'll give you that. Boston's bad. Chicago's bad. The whole eastern part of the U.S. is bad. But Philly, man, I don't know what it is. This psychopaths.
So wait, when you're roasting the guy, what percentage is going to be his bad football choices? Is it going to be more personal or more football?
Oh, it's going to start there. Yeah, it's going to start there. I might even go game for game. Like, remember when you did this and you followed it up with this? Like, I want to break down. To me, it's not even funny. I'm going to break down his failures. I'm going to make him feel bad. I'm going to hurt his feelings.
So like a week 12 free agent pickup, you're gonna tear him apart.
Oh yeah! Oh my gosh! He better do everything right.
Oh,
he better make it hard for me. Everybody, make it hard for me.
You could go to Jack Links and get all the details there. Another one, just as if all that is not embarrassing enough, you also get a billboard in your hometown.
It's crazy.
Taken out. I mean, it's gone to very high levels, and we respect the hell out of it.
It's really crazy. Yeah, wow. Good for them. Good for Jack Links.
Yeah. I don't know why people are signing up for this, but I would sign up for it too. Because you always think you're not going to be the last guy. Everyone thinks,
totally.
Oh, I'm good. Yeah.
No, I would too. I would totally sign up for it. I'd be into it.
All right, Rob, this has been fantastic. Thank you so much for doing it. And we can't wait to see who the loser is. Good luck in your 4 fantasy leagues. I don't know if you've done any of your own drafts yet, have you?
At my own what?
Your own fantasy leagues. Have you done any of your own drafts yet?
Oh, no, not yet. It's way too early. Way too early for that. Any league that's drafting now is foolish.
Yeah, you got to wait till the preseason is over. Everybody
you gotta, come on, everybody. Let's calm down. I do it like we go right up into the wire.
Awesome. Rob, are you an Aaron Rodgers believer?
No.
Because he's on the Jets or because he's Aaron Rodgers?
No, because I don't know. I'm curious. Let's put it that way. I'm curious. I'm definitely not a believer. I'd say I like the guy. I think he's probably a very nice person, but I'm curious.
Wait, Rob, are ayahuasca retreats and like darkness retreats, is that something the Hollywood set is really doing?
This just took a turn. Yeah, I'll do it. What do you got? If you sign me up.
We'll do that in another interview at another time. We'll get you into our cave, into the nest, and turn off all the lights. Rob, thanks so much again on behalf of Jack Links. This is the ultimate meat roast. It takes place early February 2024 in LA. You got to go to Jack Links to get all the details. Listen, Rob Cordry.
Yeah, JackLinksMeatRoast.com.
JackLinksMeatRoast.com. Pardon me, JackLinksMeatRoast.com. That's all the details. And listen, an Emmy award-winning comedian could be roasting your friend. That's got to be.
Yep, and you'll be in the front row with him, and I'll probably roast you a little bit as well.
Thank you, Rob. Talk to you soon.
All right. Bye-bye. Thanks, guys.
Coming up, welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. And Perloff, comedian I know to another, because what happens when Kevin Hart attempts to play football? He ends up in a wheelchair. We've got the sound for you. You got to hear it after this CBS Sports Update. Here's Rich Ackerman.
Sports Flash.
Monty Ossenford has gone to work reshaping the Cardinals, dealing Isaiah Simmons, whose transition to safety wasn't going well. He goes to the Giants for a 7th-round pick for the former 8th pick in the 2020 draft. They also sent offensive tackle Josh Jones to the Texans for a 5th-rounder. Steven Strasburg is retiring after 13 seasons, unable to come back from thoracic outlet syndrome. He's made only 8 starts since being the 2019 World Series MVP. The Nationals today take 2 of 3 from the Yankees, winning the series finale by a score of 6-5. Boston got a leadoff home run from Alex Verdugo and never stopped pounding the Astros today as the Red Sox take the series finale 17-1. As Brian Bayo picked up his 10th win of the season, going 7 innings, allowing just 1 run. The Dodgers took the suspended game from the Guardians by a score of 6-1. Right now, bottom of the 4th, they lead Cleveland by a score of 3-2. And it was Tampa Bay over Colorado today by a score of 5-3. I'm Rich Ackerman.
Football season's almost here. From the college game to the NFL, no one has you covered like CBS Sports Radio. Find us 24/7 on your local Odyssey affiliate, Sirius XM Channel 158, streaming online, or the free Odyssey app.
CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Big thanks to Rob Cordry, the comedian and actor, Hot Tub Time Machine, Ballers, Old School, joined us. Said, not a believer in Aaron Rodgers, that's for sure. Also called Philadelphia fans psychopaths.
He's been in so many good movies. It's hard to identify the one that he's known for. It's funny that he said Hot Tub Time Machine.
I think he
it's
gets
Hot
it
Tub Time Machine guy.
Let's get to our shot of the day.
He shoots!
And the shot of the day is brought to you by Casamigos Tequila. Casamigos is brought to you by those who drink it. So today's shot of the day comes from guest of the show, David Samson, the former president of the Marlins. We were talking about the big story, which is Shohei Ohtani and what his kind of contract he's looking at now that he may not pitch again.
If I'm Ohtani's agent, I'm looking for a team who's going to give me an opt-out after 2025. Because if I come back and I'm able to pitch, I want to go back into the market and get my full value as both a number one starter and the best hitter maybe in baseball.
Your best ballpark on what he actually signs for.
I had him well above Judge. I had him about 45 to 50 million by 9, and I thought that would be the minimum. Now I just don't know that I would be giving him 500 million over 10 years. I don't think that's a responsible contract. On the other hand, I would give him the opportunity to make that. So I would give a lot of incentives.
I mean, that's great from David Samson, and I see why he would want to do that from the team side. But there is going to be someone who offers him the contract. But it's not that you're not getting the same thing. You have to understand that. And listen, maybe Shohei Ohtani does defy odds, and he comes back from a second Tommy John surgery and pitches like a frontline starter. It could happen. But the odds are against him.
Yeah, I mean, I feel really, really bad for Shohei. I don't know how he's going to get by on $465 million compared to $543 million. What's the difference anyway? Does it even make a big... I mean, we could talk about this contract, but it's insane. The guy has to live to 175 years old to spend this money anyway.
Like Latrell Sprewell said, he's got a family to feed. How are you going to do that?
How many people are in this family? Does he have 1,000 kids? This is funny money, actually, to sit and actually break down. Because... You know, the one thing that I took away from Samson is him saying that Shohei should immediately shut it down right now.
Yep.
Get Tommy John and not be available next year. I don't see him doing that, Maggie. If he could still hit, then why not?
You know, more to me than the money, because you're right, it's abstract, and none of us are ever going to see this kind of money in our lives. Well, good luck to you if you can. But it's not about the money. To me, it's about, like, the story and the aura around Shohei Ohtani. Everything he was doing, it was like he was breaking records and making history on a nightly basis. And now, if he's a great hitter, and I'm not like taking away from that, he's an all-time great hitter, but what made this story particularly special was because he was doing both. And if he doesn't do that, some of the luster is gone, some of the shine is gone from his story. He just becomes a good old regular awesome player.
I don't think so.
As opposed to a unicorn.
I disagree, because I think there's still some magic about him. The fact that, I mean, he's going to own every record of combined pitching hitting already. Like, he's already done enough to own the record book for guy with the most home runs and strikeouts. So I think there's always going to be something special about him because of what he did do in the past. Also, just as a hitter, he's more multidimensional than Aaron Judge because he can run so fast.
Judge is a good outfielder, though.
Yeah, I know, but nobody cares, Maggie. Stop trying to sell us on the outfielders.
I know. Samter, the poll results, how did the public view this?
Public viewed it kind of the way we thought they would, but maybe not quite as wide of a margin as I thought. But 55% say no, he'll just be another hitter, and 45% say he's still must watch. Okay, so a lot of people out there, diehard Ohtani fans, are going to watch him no matter what. Okay.
No. Wait, that's not what we're saying here.
Well, you
don't have to be a diehard Ohtani fan. He's still, even if he's just a hitter, he's like Aaron Judge and Bryce Harper. You're going to buy a ticket to watch him play.
Okay.
You have to be a diehard.
Well, you're going to keep supporting him. Okay, we wonder sometimes what it's like when regular people, at least in stature, get to go on the field with professional athletes. Now, Kevin Hart was on the field recently. What team was he with? Do we know? He was at the Patriots. Kevin Hart with the Patriots, and it ended poorly.
I'm in a wheelchair. Why? Well, because I tried to jump out there and do some young stuff, and I was told to sit my ass down. 40-yard dash. Guys, I blew all my tore my lower abdomen, my adductors. I can't walk. Sit my ass down. This is 44. It's over. Sit down. Why did I even race? Stupidest shit ever. Now I can't walk because I'm somewhere trying to get the title of the fastest to barbecue. What was I thinking, son? God, got to be the stupidest man alive.
That's amazing. And, you know, I'm sorry he got so hurt. But this is what happens when normal people try to get out there. We think because we watch these guys on TV that we can do it, and we just can't.
Every person has had that wake-up call. You know what for me, my wake-up call was?
What's up?
When I think I was in my 20s still, and I played softball. And I, hit a grounder to third and sprinted to first base. And I'm like, oh, that kind of felt weird. The next day I couldn't walk.
Oh,
I'm
gosh.
like, softball. A game of softball knocked me out. Then famously, we were doing the 100-yard dash at the Dan Patrick Show, and I beat the other Danettes, which is not as
Look at you.
Not as great an athletic achievement as you think.
Yeah, you beat Fritzy. Congrats.
Yeah, I gotta tell you.
Not to judge a book by its cover, Fritz.
No, you're a dead on. My right hamstring still hurts. It was 8 years ago.
I know. Well, Samter won't stop talking about it. He ran the 40-yard dash when we were at the draft in Vegas 2 years ago, and he's like still walking with a limp.
And you guys still haven't paid me my workers' comp. What is going on?
Yeah, checks in the mail for you.
Yeah, Jerry Jeudy, by the way, when it was carted off with a hamstring injury today. Hamstrings do not heal ever, Mike, right? My hamstring still hurts all the time.
Well,
I mean, I always make fun of athletes, the hamstring, just get over it and play. I was limping around the office after running 140 for a month. So I have newfound respect for athletes.
Two things that sound like they're not that big of a deal, but are super big deal. Hamstrings for sure, because they just nag and nag, and any kind of toe injury.
Yeah, it's bad.
We're like, it's your toe. It's like toes end careers.
Yep.
Because if you can't be on your feet or have full mobility, you're totally screwed.
Just as Aaron Judge.
Yeah,
I know. Aaron Judge's toe 60 days. Terry McLaurin now for the Washington Commanders wide receiver, he's got this turf toe injury that he injured in the preseason, and now it's he's not going to play week 1.
So, Maggie, you've run the 40-yard dash the last couple drafts. You have this upright Forrest Gump style that seems to keep you healthy.
I think I figured it out because I feel great.
Yeah. You don't even warm up. You just get out there.
No shoes.
Yeah. I mean, you could probably shave off about a half a second if you just bent down a little for witnesses.
I can imagine what I could do if I actually had shoes, shorts, not to get too graphic, sports bra. I could really get after this thing. Hair in a ponytail. I can do some damage out there.
Well, you knew,
and I'm just getting off the set, and we go right over to it.
But we've done
any time.
We've done it 2 years in a row, and you've known it's there. How come you haven't prepared for this or gotten a coach or anything?
I forgot. We were doing it again, and then I walked in. I was like, "Oh bleep!"
Do you remember we did a planning meeting? I'm like, all right, Maggie, why don't you get Allison Felix to show you how to come out of the block? As if that is an easy thing to make happen.
I know. I was asking Tiki for tips. It's run fast. It's thank you.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. It just comes easy to him.
What was it? Tiki probably ran a 4.4.
I'm sure. And marathons. Again, just these athletes are just they're not like us. Okay. A lot more to do. What else do we have to get to today? Oh, yes. Jonathan Taylor. So looks like Tuesday, Perloff. That is the deadline that Jim Irsay and the Colts have given to Jonathan Taylor. He's been given permission to seek a trade, but once you get to Tuesday, then he's got to have a trade or not. I was talking with Ryan Hickey about this, noted Colts fan and producer Zach Elbshow, and he said it's also the day where he has to make where the team makes the determination if he's going to be on the PUP list, which means he'd miss the first 4 games of the season or not.
Wow. So
big week coming up for Jonathan Taylor.
I just get this strong sense, and maybe a trade will happen. It's the same problem. Nobody's going to want to pay any running back. Even Jonathan Taylor, just nobody wants to pay him, so why trade for him? To
be honest, and I don't mean to sound callous here, but this has moved from a Jonathan Taylor story to now a fantasy draft story for the next couple of weeks.
Yeah,
that's kind of where this is the most interesting.
Definitely.
And so then also, is he going to go to a contending team? Is he going to be healthy? All of that.
Well, honestly, my quarterback is always the same. I always get Lamar Jackson, but I am looking very, very strongly at Anthony Richardson because he's going to run the ball all the time. My big league is very, very weighted towards running over passing. So if you have a quarterback who can run for 100 yards a game, you're going to win your league. And I feel like Anthony Richardson could be that because I've seen no evidence that he knows how to run a passing offense in the NFL.
No, there is none. But also, if Jonathan Taylor gets traded to the Miami Dolphins, then I would feel even better about Anthony Richardson because you don't even have anyone to pass, hand it off to at the goal line.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Honestly, you could look at the flip side. Who the other guys in Indianapolis get a lot more value. Although I would not draft a Colts receiver under any circumstance. Yeah, what's your hunch? I don't think this is going to work out well. I just do not see him playing for the Colts this year, and I don't see a trade happening.
I kind of want to call a little BS on the Dolphins, too. They've been in on every single running back. Allegedly, they did call the Raiders, Stu's Raiders, about Josh Jacobs, but there was no deal. So at least you get Josh Jacobs, Stu.
Fantastic.
Well, what's funny?
On the ship to nowhere.
They're going to run him into the ground.
Yeah.
They actually ran the ball really well last year with Raheem Mostert and Jeff Wilson Jr.
That's what I'm saying. I think this is all I don't know why they keep throwing their hat in the ring for Dalvin Cook and maybe Jonathan Taylor and Josh Jacobs. I get it, but at the same time, I don't know how interested they really are.
Yeah, you think it's smoke? Maybe for the league minimum, they take these guys.
Well, anyone would for the league minimum.
Yeah, I mean, the other team, too, that always gets linked to every running back that hasn't really done anything is the Dallas Cowboys.
Jerry said no. Said we're good. We're set.
Yeah, I don't totally understand. The Dallas Cowboys, to me, are a great example of anybody can play running back because they have Tony Pollard coming off a broken leg, Rico Dowdle, Malik Taylor or Malik something, and our boy, Deuce Vaughn. It's a very thin room, and they're a Super Bowl contender that doesn't seem to bother them at all.
It's very interesting. So we'll see what goes on with that whole situation and Jonathan Taylor, which is, again, maybe a fantasy story for the next week or so.
Yeah, by the way, you're getting me nervous. We've already had preliminary meetings this year to talk about our strategies.
You do your fantasy league with another person.
With a partner, yeah. It's a conglomerate.
Yeah, this is you need two heads to draft KJ Hamler. Bravo, guys.
I think Hamler's out with a heart condition.
Oh, gosh, sorry about that.
Not funny.
That was a story from last year.
But this year's hard because every situation is all screwed up. Everything. All the running backs are a total mess. Derrick Henry looks great in these Instagram videos. Do I buy that? Do I buy Derrick Henry jumping around looking like a 22-year-old? I have no idea. This year, it feels very, very complicated because it used to be just draft the best running back, but that doesn't exist in today's NFL anymore.
No, I don't think it's about running backs as much as obviously wide receivers. Yeah. And now quarterbacks used to be like the afterthought, but now that's a lot different.
Yeah, you can win a league with Justin Fields running the ball.
Exactly. And a lot of, people are doing 2 quarterback leagues and stuff like that. So you really got to put a little more thought into it. I was always the person who started the early run on QBs.
No, you were not.
I was. I know.
Oh.
Sorry, guys. I've gotten out of the fantasy game. I didn't love it. I'd rather just do, FanDuel, DraftKings.
Yeah, I mean, listen, there's about 8,000 ways to spend money on football right now.
Yes, football will take your money in a variety of ways. Thank you to Mike Samter. Thank you to Stu Kovacs. Thank you to Rob Cordry, to David Samson. If you miss any part of the show, Maggie and Perloff podcast is where you got to be. We will see you tomorrow to finish out the week strong. Peace.